Chapter 197. Don't even think about it. Staying neutral is the stupidest thing to do, Watanabe. Toru Watanabe's reply was, as expected, attacked by both of them at the same time. But now, he was starting to get used to it. Let's go buy some bath gel. He changed the topic. There was a pleasant fragrance in the shop that sold bath gel. Miki Kujo took a fancy to the European carbonated bath gel. She used one gel every time she bathed, and it cost $400 per gel. It's my turn now. Toru Watanabe was deep in thought. Two rich ladies in their late 40s and two beautiful 16-year-old girls. What gift should he give them? This mall was huge. It had everything from daily necessities to branded goods. But they probably wouldn't be happy to receive anything that could be bought with money. He thought for a while. He had no idea at all. Have you thought about it? After walking around, Miki Kujo was tired. Let's buy a belt. Toru Watanabe gave up. He didn't care if the people who received the gift would be happy or not. Whether it was Miki Kujo or Rin Kiyono, sometimes they liked to wear a belt when they wore skirts. They looked fashionable and elegant. Their slender waists were tied by belts. They were so graceful that people wanted to pull them into their arms and press them on the bed. He had already done that to Miki Kujo. In the Hermes store, Toru Watanabe picked a belt with a navy blue surface and an amber yellow inside. After choosing the color, the salesperson asked for the size. Toru Watanabe rested his chin on his hand, looked at the ceiling and whispered. Miki is 62, Kiyono is about the same. Kujo's mother is 68? No, I think she dropped to 65 recently. Kiyono's mother, I don't know if she's gained weight or lost weight recently. Just as he was trying to recall Kiyono's mother, someone kicked his calf. What are you doing? He turned around, and the two young ladies stared at him with unsightly expressions. How do you know their waistlines? Miki Kujo looked at him coldly. I am good at math. As long as I have one example of data, I can calculate the rest. Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono, and Rin Kiyono nodded. Miki Kujo said to Toru Watanabe with a murderous look, I really want to dig your eyes out. Please don't. I haven't seen enough of you yet. Then when will you have enough? Miki Kujo asked with a sneer. If you ask, then it's definitely for a lifetime. Toru Watanabe wrapped his arms around Miki Kujo's slender waist. This waist, this figure, it's beautiful beyond words. Guest. The clerk who was registering the information hesitantly greeted them. Miki Kujo waved Toru Watanabe's hand away. Hurry up, don't dawdle. Yes, sir. Help me choose according to the size 62. If the two aunties accidentally get it, they might be able to use it. If they don't use it, they can take the opportunity to lose weight. Unlike Kujo's traditional Japanese architecture, Kiyono's house was more Western. After entering the castle-like house, the two beautiful girls went to change clothes. Toru Watanabe found the servant. Is there a pool here? If not, the gym is also fine. Young Master Watanabe, there is a pool and a pool for the gym. Which one do you want? For the gym. Please come with me. Toru Watanabe followed the servant and took the elevator to the basement. After taking a few steps, a pool the size of a football field came into view. It was obviously in the basement, but there was natural light. 8 square stone pillars on both sides of the pool lit up with a soft white light. Deck chairs, a spa room, a drink bar, a TV, etc. Everything was available. She unbuttoned her pleated skirt and let it slide down naturally. After taking off her underwear and stockings, Rin Kiyono took a simple shower. She changed into a large blue sweater and a beige skirt. She tied her long hair into a ponytail and let it fall naturally on her back. She walked out of the room and slowly went downstairs. There was no one in the living room. She frowned slightly, looking beautiful and lovable. Where is Watanabe? She asked the servant in the living room. Young Master Watanabe went to the swimming pool in the basement. Rin Kiyono was slightly dazed. She remembered something Toru Watanabe often said. I swim 20 laps in the 50-meter pool every day. I am becoming amazing at a speed that Kiyono classmate can't imagine. Although she knew that this sentence was true, She didn't expect that today, when he came to her house to attend the Christmas party, he still insisted on swimming. She thought that he had sneaked into Miki Kujo's room. She smiled slightly, said thank you to the servant, and walked to the underground swimming pool. The eldest miss, who had always been cold, suddenly revealed a smile. The servants were so shocked that they forgot to salute. When Rin Kiyono disappeared, they hurriedly bowed in her direction. In addition to the swimming pool, there were various fitness equipment in the basement, but generally no one used it. Most of the rooms were equipped with a small gym. Although the equipment was not complete, it was enough for daily use. Of course, this had nothing to do with Miss Kiyono. She lost if she touched the fitness equipment. Walking past the fitness equipment room and the elevator, she heard the sound of water splashing. Rin Kiyono went around the wall, and her field of vision suddenly widened. In front of her was a blue swimming pool, and a figure was swimming in it with all his might. His arms were paddling, and his thighs were above the water. He seemed to be moving on the surface of the water. From his appearance, he looked like a butterfly with its wings spread. Rin Kiyono didn't work out, but she was knowledgeable enough to know that this was a type of swimming called the butterfly stroke. His swimming speed was quite fast, faster than the swimming girls she had seen before who had won the gold medal in the swimming competition. In the short time she had observed clearly, Toru Watanabe, who was still far away, had already swum back. Kiyono classmate, I saw a mermaid. Lies. I looked confidently, and that mermaid is Kiyono classmate. Lies again. What I mean is you look so good in this outfit. You're telling the truth. After a simple conversation, he gestured for her to wait, kicked off the wall of the swimming pool, and swam out again. Toru Watanabe's body was tall and slender. Rin Kiyono glanced at him, then turned around and left. She went back upstairs to the family library, picked up a book that she wanted to read a second time, and returned to the living room. She sat on the armchair in front of the fireplace and read while sipping black tea. After a while, she heard footsteps. She looked up. Miki Kujo had changed into her home clothes and was coming down from upstairs. Where did Watanabe go? She looked around. In Rin Kiyono's eyes, she looked like a housewife who had lost a treasure or had no one to rely on. Rin Kiyono looked down on her. Plus, their relationship was so bad that they didn't even want to maintain basic etiquette. Naturally, she wouldn't answer her question. The maid who answered her question earlier told Miki Kujo that Toru Watanabe was swimming. Only then did Miki Kujo focus on her. I'm going to have to spend another annoying Christmas with you. Miki Kujo sat down on the sofa across from her. If you don't like it, you can go back, she said casually. If they could go back, they wouldn't have come here. Unlike you, I have a good relationship with my mother. I'm a filial child. She was about to retaliate against Miki Kujo's mockery when the living room was filled with the loudest voices since it was built. Everyone, I feel like I've become stronger again. I can beat up 1,023 of the me from yesterday. His voice was clear and loud, filled with the confidence of a young man. Everyone, I feel like I've become stronger again. I can beat up 1,023 of the me from yesterday. What's with the noise? You don't have to say stupid things so loudly, Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo reprimanded Toru Watanabe as soon as he entered the living room. I'm sorry. Toru Watanabe apologized as quickly as he could. He walked over to the sofa and sat down comfortably. After the exercise, he felt a faint sense of comfort. After resting for a while, he asked, "What do we do next?" Wait. Rin Kiyono, who was buried in her book, answered briefly without looking up. Wait for the rain to turn into snowflakes. It'll be my Christmas alone. Toru Watanabe drummed his fingers on the sofa's armrest. Rin Kiyono looked up with admiration. I misunderstood you, Watanabe-san. You're even more outstanding than I thought. Is singing bad a flaw? Please apologize to all the tone-deaf people in the world. You're not allowed to sing in the future. Miki Kujo said impatiently. Miki, even you are discriminating against me? What are you talking about? Come here. Toru Watanabe got up and walked over. Miki Kujo sat him down on the sofa and rested her head on his knees. Help me pick my ears. She handed him the ear-picking spoon in her hand, and closed her eyes in comfort. Rin Kiyono's expression turned cold as she looked at their posture. Please don't do such a disgusting thing in my living room. If you don't like it, you can kick me out. Miki Kujo didn't care at all. Rin Kiyono glanced coldly at the innocent Toru Watanabe and continued reading without saying a word. Miki Kujo sneered disdainfully. Don't move. Toru Watanabe pressed down on the side of her beautiful face. The ear-picking spoon had already gone in. After a while, Miki Kujo changed her direction and faced Toru Watanabe's abdomen. You're quite energetic. It's not just energetic. I can't stop at all. Rin Kiyono raised her head and looked at the two of them in confusion. She didn't know what they were talking about. About 20 minutes later, the two young ladies' mothers returned. They were obviously rich madams, but they were dressed no differently from ordinary young women. They were even carrying bags of various sizes like ordinary people. If you met them in the business world, other than being surprised by their temperament and beauty, you wouldn't think that they were rich madams from large families. The maids came forward to help, but they didn't allow it. Miki, come and see what I bought, Kujo's mother said happily. It was Toru Watanabe's first time seeing Kujo's mother so natural without wearing a kimono. She always sat at the head of the table in her gorgeous kimono. Her skin was snow-white, and her bright eyes were calm and composed. Her intelligent eyes seemed to see through everyone's thoughts. Only when she was chatting with her daughter would her eyes shine brightly. In comparison, Kiyono's mother's appearance wasn't bad at all, but her temperament was gentler. She was like an ordinary young lady who had lived a leisurely life for more than 10 years, and became an ordinary rich madam. Toru Watanabe didn't have any thoughts that he couldn't be seen through, or that he had to be cautious when facing her. What did you buy? Miki Kujo sat up. Snow spray, gold and silver sequins, firecrackers, mini Christmas trees, reindeer plushies, white cotton lights. Miki Kujo looked at her mother, who was showing off her treasures, without knowing what she meant. Rin, Mom bought something back too. Look. Rin Kiyono sighed, closed her book, and looked over. A tapestry of Mount Fuji, a snowman plushie, and a CD collection of Christmas songs. Yeah. And oversized socks. Looking at the socks that could fit an elementary school student, Rin Kiyono rubbed her forehead. It's not over yet. The two madams looked at each other, and took out a stack of red things in surprise. Thump thump, Christmas clothes. Everyone has one. Kiyono's mother clapped as if she was a paid assistant. However, her expression still retained the grace of a rich madam, and didn't have enough enthusiasm. The real audience, Toru Watanabe, clapped sincerely. When Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono looked over, Toru Watanabe put down his hands as if nothing had happened. Kun Watanabe. Kujo's mother took out another set of clothes from the bag and said with a bright smile. There's one for you too, a reindeer suit. Chapter 198. Kun Watanabe, you don't like it? Seeing that Toru Watanabe was silent, Kujo's mother asked with concern. How should I put it? Toru Watanabe looked at the reindeer suit in her hand again. The antler decoration was a bit like a girl's hairband. I can't say that I don't like it, but compared to the Christmas suit, I prefer the Christmas suit. Then I'll buy you a Christmas suit next year. Kujo's mother, who looked concerned just now, put on a relaxed expression as if the matter had been properly solved. What does this feel like? The staff said that they worked overtime until 9 o'clock today, and that it was very tiring. The boss said that they could get off work at 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, and that they should rest early and not tire themselves out. When Toru Watanabe was hesitating whether to say that he didn't like it, Kiyono's mother ordered the servant next to her. Let them bring the Christmas tree in. Yes, madam. The servant walked out of the door. After a while, the door opened again, and a Christmas tree as high as the ceiling was carried in. According to the encyclopedia that Toru Watanabe read in the library, this was a European fir tree used to deal with Rin Kiyono. The tree was beautiful, the color and smell were very good, and the leaves didn't fall off easily, so it was the most used tree in the world every year. This tree was 10 meters tall, although it didn't reach the limit of tree species, but for humans, it was huge. Please be careful. Kiyono's mother reminded him. After warming by the fireplace for a long time, Toru Watanabe poured himself a glass of water, drank it, and watched the workers fiddle with the tree. Miki Kujo lazily leaned on the sofa, looking at the Christmas tree as if to pass the time. Rin Kiyono, who was sitting opposite them, was not interested, and had already lowered his head to read. After a while, the Christmas tree was still not ready. The construction was quite noisy, and the 10-meter-tall tree was constantly being adjusted. Even Rin Kiyono looked over several times. "What's going on?" Kujo's mother asked. Her tone was gentle, but the workers immediately panicked. A man who looked like the leader bowed and said, "I'm really sorry. We didn't take the chandelier into consideration. The installation will take some time." Toru Watanabe looked up. The chandelier in the living room was luxurious, like a miniature castle. "It's okay, I bought too big. I should have bought a smaller Christmas tree," Kiyono's mother said apologetically. No. This is a mistake in our work. I'm really sorry." The man bowed 90 degrees and said in a terrified tone. "It's done," Miki Kujo said unhappily. "Hurry up and get it done." "Yes." Kiyono's mother put her hands together, as if she had discovered something incredible. She smiled gently at Kujo's mother and said, "Miki is becoming more and more imposing. She's no longer the child who pestered me and wanted to sleep with me. She's still far from it." Kujo's mother chuckled like a young girl. Toru Watanabe looked at Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo's expression was ugly. "I'll help." Toru Watanabe quickly stood up, rolled up his sleeves, and walked towards the Christmas tree. "Customer, this kind of thing, let us." Toru Watanabe grabbed the roots of the Christmas tree, which had no branches, and used a very difficult method to hold the Christmas tree upright. The workers who were careful and using all kinds of tools just now looked at this scene with their mouths agape. A human lifting a tree? Where? Toru Watanabe's leader asked halfway. The leader came back to his senses and quickly guided Toru Watanabe to set the tree upright. With his help, the speed immediately increased. "Daughter." Kujo's mother turned around and worriedly asked Miki Kujo, who was on the sofa, "Is your waist okay?" It's already that kind of relationship." Kiyono's mother was surprised. Her voice was very similar to Rin Kiyono's voice after being gentle. Miki Kujo was too lazy to answer and rolled her eyes at them. During the installation of the Christmas tree, a very young worker secretly said to Toru Watanabe, "Why are you so strong? I'm a superpower user." "Ha! Do you think the world is simple?" Toru Watanabe looked around and lowered his voice. "Do you see, there are two beautiful girls over there. The one reading a book is nicknamed God. She can read minds and fulfill the wishes of believers. The one opposite God, who is about to fall asleep, is nicknamed Queen. She can use the power of words to control others. If she wants you to kneel, you will kneel. If she wants you to commit suicide, you will commit suicide." The young man's eyes widened. "You're lying." Toru Watanabe lifted the Christmas tree and put it down. He looked relaxed and looked at him with a "what do you think" expression. That Christmas tree, during the transportation process, crushed the wheels of the truck. After the Christmas tree was installed, the young man left in a trance with 70% disbelief and 30% doubt about the world. Toru Watanabe washed his hands and returned to the living room. The two ladies were happily chatting about something. "Unbelievable, he's so strong." Kiyono's mother covered her mouth with her hand and said, "I heard that Kuin Watanabe is the national first in this exam. My Kujo's descendants will not only have better brains, but their bodies will also be better than ordinary people," Kujo's mother said with relief. Toru Watanabe sat down next to Miki Kujo and asked her in a low voice, "Can this be inherited?" "How would I know?" Miki Kujo said in a bad mood. The two mothers discussed from the inheritance of intelligence, to the inheritance of strength, and finally back to the inheritance of appearance. Kiyono's mother said that their children would definitely be the cutest in the world in the future. Kujo's mother was worried. There were many examples where the parents were good-looking, but the children were not necessarily good-looking. Kiyono's mother comforted her. Intelligence, strength, and appearance, as long as she inherited one, it would be amazing. Kujo's mother agreed with her, and hoped that Miki could give birth to a few more children and choose the most suitable person to take over the Kujo-S family. Kiyono's mother expressed her envy and began to worry about her daughter's future. Kujo-S mother comforted her in turn. Miki, who disliked men in her family, could find someone she liked. Ling would definitely have no problem. The three people on the sofa. When the servants cleaned up the floor, the two mothers finally stopped talking. Okay, let's get changed quickly and then decorate the Christmas tree together, Kujo-S mother announced. Do we really have to wear it? Toru Watanabe asked the two beautiful girls. Koen Watanabe. Kujo-S mother leaned over and looked at him kindly. Aren't you going to wear it? Yes. Good child, good child. Kujo-S mother reached out and rubbed Toru Watanabe's hair. Mother. Miki Kujo stood up and stood between the two of them. Miki, don't disturb my conversation with my son. He's not your son yet. He's even jealous of his own mother. His personality is exactly the same as when I was young. Kujo-S mother smiled happily. Koen Watanabe. Thank you for your hard work. It's not hard at all. I really like Miki's possessiveness. Does that mean that you also like your mother-in-law? In this kind of situation, all he needed to do was to smile, from Toru Watanabe at this moment. Okay, didn't you say you wanted to get changed? Miki Kujo couldn't stand her mother. The ladies were in the large walk-in closet on the first floor, while Toru Watanabe went to the small walk-in closet upstairs. The reindeer costume was fine since it was just a normal costume, but the headwear, Toru Watanabe took it and walked back to the living room. The maids had already been sent away. There was no one in the living room except for the sound of the bonfire burning in the fireplace. Toru Watanabe twirled the reindeer antler headband twice in his hand, and the ladies walked in. Red, white, long legs, white shoulders. Under the castle-like chandelier, and beside the 10-meter-tall Christmas tree. The scene in front of him was like a dream, and also a bit awkward. A Christmas costume bought by a rich lady wouldn't be bad even if she only wore it for 1 or 2 hours tonight. The costume was very elastic and beautiful. Kujo-S mother's bulging breasts were outlined by the elastic costume, and the beautiful curves were drawn out. It was white and dazzling, and it was very appetizing. Thinking about how noble, elegant, and demure she usually wore in her kimono, the revealing Christmas costume really made him thirsty. Kiyono's mother was the same. Her legs were slender and well-proportioned, no different from a young girl's. Although her breasts weren't big, they were just right, and there was an inexplicable sense of warmth. Miki Kujo, among the four of them, was the one who didn't care about her outfit the least. After all, the only man present was Toru Watanabe, and there were no secrets between the two of them, at least in terms of their bodies. Her breasts were close to her mother's, her waist was slender, and her legs were white, long and slender. Toru Watanabe wanted to pull her to his side, hold her in his arms and chat with her in this position. Just this alone, he felt that he could get through the coldest winter. Rusha-san's situation is not good, Toru Watanabe thought as he looked at Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe's gaze only lingered on her chest for a second, and then he couldn't help but move his gaze down. The Christmas costume was slightly loose, and the lower half of her body looked like she was wearing a miniskirt. He didn't know if it was because she wasn't used to this outfit, or because she didn't have safety pants, but Rin Kiyono seemed to be very concerned about the length of her skirt, and she reached out to pull it down from time to time. But it was useless to pull it down, and the action of covering it up had a strange charm. Toru Watanabe's heart itched. Just like Toru Watanabe couldn't control his gaze, Rin Kiyono was also very sensitive to his gaze. She immediately noticed when his gaze was fixed on her legs. Her white cheeks were dyed red, and one of her hands was protecting her skirt, while the other hand was adjusting her Christmas hat out of embarrassment. The way her face was slightly turned away, other than cute, it was just cute. Each of them had their own characteristics, and they were mother and daughter. When his heart began to beat faster, Toru Watanabe quickly shifted his gaze. "You are all so beautiful," he applauded and praised. "Where are the reindeer antlers? Why don't you put it on?" Kujo-S mother questioned with slight anger. "Well, can I not wear it?" "Of course not," Kujo-S mother said as she walked over and reached out to take the reindeer antler headband. She approached Toru Watanabe, and wanted to put it on for him. So close that only a little bit of the foot of the snow mountain was exposed, and it suddenly turned into a white plain. Toru Watanabe quickly stood up and dodged. Before Kujo's mother could speak, he said, I'll put it on, but let Miki help me. Kun Watanabe is surprisingly pure. Kujo's mother revealed the charm of a young woman and teased, Are our outfits too stimulating for you? Auntie, mother. Toru Watanabe couldn't resist and changed the way he addressed them 3 times in a row, reminding them to pay attention to their identities. Don't say these things to me. Mother, Miki Kujo grabbed the reindeer antler headband. Aren't we going to prepare the cake? I almost forgot. It's all Kun Watanabe's fault for being too cute. Speaking of this, Kujo's voice was soft and regretful. How nice would it be if we had a son? I object. Toru Watanabe raised his hand in all seriousness. The 2 mothers were amused and laughed happily. Miki Kujo rolled her eyes at Toru Watanabe, took the reindeer antler headband, and said to him, Lower your head. Toru Watanabe bent down slightly. The familiar scenery in front of him, the familiar fragrance, made him subconsciously reach out and hug Miki Kujo's slender waist. The Christmas suit felt warm and velvety. There was another burst of laughter from the 2 mothers. Rin Kiyono's eyes were cold. Miki Kujo let Toru Watanabe hug her and put the headband on him. After putting it on, she hooked Toru Watanabe's chin with her finger and looked at his face from left to right. She smiled teasingly and said, It's quite cute. It suits you very well, Kun Watanabe, Kiyono's mother praised with a look of admiration. I picked it, Kujo's mother said. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe's head with a bit of concern, and then looked at his hand around Miki Kujo's waist. Boys don't need to be cute, right? Toru Watanabe let go of his hand and helplessly touched the antlers on his head. Please decorate the Christmas tree. Our mother group will prepare the cake and dishes for you, Kiyono's mother said. Okay. They didn't go to the kitchen. The servants had already put the cake, ingredients, and kitchen utensils on the mobile cooking cart. The 2 mothers began to beat the eggs and weigh the flour. Halfway through, Kiyono's mother played the CD of Christmas songs she bought. The 2 mothers were very happy as they cooked and hummed. Occasionally, they would talk about Christmas when they were young. At the Christmas tree, Toru Watanabe climbed up the ladder. The 2 beautiful girls handed him ornaments and told him how to dress up. Lighting the whole tree with lights? What era is this? Kujo-san, do you know what tradition is? Tradition? Are you talking about the defective products that can't keep up with the times and are destined to be eliminated? Defective products? Relying on your late birth and looking down on the wisdom of your ancestors. This is the 3rd most incurable thing after lying is necessary, and there's nothing wrong with liking legs. Toru Watanabe. After arguing for a long time, the 2 of them saw how impatient each other was, but they were only ranked 3rd. He was ranked 1st and 2nd. Watanabe-san. As if reading his mind, Rin Kiyono looked over. Do you want to decorate the Christmas tree with lights? Watanabe, tell her. Miki Kujo crossed her arms and said in a tone that said, You know what to do. Looking down from the ladder, their chests, Toru Watanabe felt dizzy. He could only ask for outside help. Mom, Auntie Kiyono, what do you think? He looked over. No, he quickly retracted his gaze. As expected of the wives, the situation was even worse. But it was because of them that he could avoid the Azura battlefield in front of him. Kun Watanabe, you can call me Mom. Kiyono's mother beat the eggs skillfully. What was happening? A chill spread up the ladder. You want to steal my son-in-law? No way. Kujo's mother put a roasted chicken in the oven. Why would I? I want to take Kun Watanabe as my godson. Oh right. Kiyono's mother thought of something and asked, Kun Watanabe, what's your birthday? I want to see if you're Ling's older brother or younger brother. 6th of June. Ah. Kiyono's mother stopped beating the eggs. You were born on the same day as our Ling. What fate? Yeah, I was shocked when I found out. Rin Kiyono smiled. Watanabe. Miki Kujo pointed to the ground. She meant, come down. Only an idiot would go down. Who would have thought that the Azura battlefield would be everywhere? Kujo's mother, Kiyono's aunt. Do you want to decorate the Christmas tree with lights? Toru Watanabe quickly pulled the topic back. How about we decorate it? Kiyono's mother looked at Kujo's mother, asking for her opinion. Kujo's mother took off the oven's gloves. It'll look better with lights. We can turn off the lights later. It'll be more Christmas. Then let's decorate it. Toru Watanabe asked Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo was helpless. Her murderous face relaxed. By the way, Kuin Watanabe, didn't I tell you to call me Mom? Kiyono's mother suddenly said. Miki Kujo's beautiful face tensed up again. Kiyono's mother, this is the only request I have for Christmas. Please don't talk about this anymore. Chapter 199. With the two ladies deliberately matching each other, it took them 20 minutes to finish decorating the Christmas tree. Cotton was used as snow, balloons, ribbons, gift boxes were hung, and the branches were decorated with colorful lights. The 10-meter-tall Christmas tree covered with decorations stood in the living room. Just looking at it made one feel dreamy. Toru Watanabe put away the ladder and asked the two ladies if they needed any help. Leave the cooking to us. After that, Kiyono's mother looked at her daughter. Ling, take them to your bedroom to play. Rin Kiyono frowned slightly. What's so fun about the bedroom? Isn't it fun to look at childhood photos? Kuin Watanabe is also interested, right? Kiyono's mother asked. Kujo's mother, who was wrapping the chicken in flour, echoed. I remember there's a photo of Mickey and Ling, right? Remember to take it down and let us see it together later. I really miss it. In the blink of an eye, we're almost old. Stop it. You're getting younger and younger recently. I'm the one who's really old. Tell me the secret. Because I have a son. Kiyono's mother touched her face with her right hand. Then if I adopt Kuin Watanabe today, will I also slowly become younger? I'm afraid an adopted son won't do. It has to be a son-in-law. Ling for mom, please. What was the topic just now? Rin Kiyono held her forehead and said helplessly to Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo. Come with me. She walked up the stairs and escaped the disaster called marriage urging. Miki Kujo followed her up 2 steps. Suddenly, she turned around and looked down at Toru Watanabe. You want to go to Kiyono's room? She had a smile on her face. If one didn't know better, they would think that she was an amiable idol. There was one thing that had to be made clear. None of the beautiful female idols were as good-looking as Miki Kujo. At most, they could only reach the level of Yoshimi Tamamo, which was 8 points. Yes, Toru Watanabe answered honestly. Mainly because I want to see your childhood photos, Miki. So you like me that much? I like Miki the most. Really? Of course it's true. There's nothing truer than this in the world. Just like how apples always fall. Humans evolved from apes, and the earth revolves around the sun. You cannot believe in the truth of science, but you can't not believe in my sincerity. Hearing this, Miki Kujo, who was originally smiling, turned gloomy. Stay here obediently. Her tone was sharp, and she ordered without any room for refusal. Miki Kujo turned around and prepared to go upstairs. Toru Watanabe quickly grabbed her little hand. Miki, you're not going to listen to me anymore? Miki Kujo turned around. Of course not. Toru Watanabe glanced at the kitchen table and whispered in her ear. You can't leave me here alone to meet my mother. Miki Kujo glanced at him, and then looked at Kiyono's mother who was talking to her own mother about skincare. She snorted coldly, shook off Toru Watanabe's hand, and went upstairs with her arms crossed. Toru Watanabe followed behind her with light steps. Under the red Christmas dress, her round and perky buttocks were swaying. Fortunately, Toru Watanabe was wearing a deer-horned hat. If it was a cow-horned hat, he might have bumped into her. After all, everyone knew that Toru Watanabe was an experiential transmigrator. Since he was dressed as a cow, he would naturally be angered by the red cloth. But now he was a deer. Did that mean he would be ridden? He could try. Besides, if a reindeer rode Santa Claus, such a contrast would be reasonable, right? Tonight, Miki Kujo suddenly stopped. Toru Watanabe, the distracted buck, almost bumped into her. What's wrong? He asked. Miki Kujo crossed her arms and looked at him as if he was trash. I feel a very perverted gaze. Ahem. Toru Watanabe cleared his throat. I like you. I can't help it. You walk in front. The two of us are still so. Toru Watanabe walked in front of her. In front of him was Rin Kiyono. Her two slender legs were swaying like white porcelain under the small skirt of her Christmas dress. Forget it. Walk behind me. My queen, it's taboo to change orders. I strongly disagree. Toru Watanabe did not dare to say this. The three of them walked up the stairs with ivory handrails. Come in, Rin Kiyono said. I haven't been back for a long time. The room was as big as the living room. This was only the visible space. The rest of the toilets, bathrooms, cloakrooms, dressing rooms, etc. were either in separate cubicles or hidden behind the wall. The whole house was built in a European style, but this bedroom was more Japanese. Although there was a heater, Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo still sat under the quilt. Rin Kiyono made tea for them and brought them a box of biscuits. There's no fruit in the room. Don't bother the servants, she said. No problem. Toru Watanabe nodded. Miki Kujo was already lying down and resting with her eyes closed. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe with hesitation. Do you want to see it? No. Rin Kiyono glared at him and turned around to take the photo album from the bookshelf. Watanabe-san, I'll tell you in advance that these photos were taken by my mother without permission. Rin Kiyono handed the photo album to Toru Watanabe and put her bare legs under the quilt. Yes, I understand. Toru Watanabe said perfunctorily and focused all his attention on the photo album. The photo album was very important, and the content was very interesting. It could even be called a treasure. There was a photo of Rin Kiyono when she was just born. Your eyes are so big. Thank you. Rin Kiyono took a sip of tea. But most babies have big eyes. There's nothing praiseworthy about them. There was a photo of Rin Kiyono sucking on a pacifier and staring blankly at the camera with her big black eyes. Kiyono-san, you also suck on a pacifier? I know you've always worshipped me as a god, but unfortunately, my body is only that of an ordinary human. Does that mean that your spirit has already become a god? Rin Kiyono put down her teacup and brushed her long hair off her shoulders, showing a loving smile. Even if I'm not a god, I'm still an angel. This pacifier must be very expensive, right? If Watanabe-san likes it, I can have someone find it. There was a photo of Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo wearing the same dress and chasing each other on the lawn. Ah, they're so close. It's even a couple outfit. This is called the same dress. It's different from the couple outfit you mentioned. There was a photo of Miki Kujo crying and Rin Kiyono, who was about to cry, angrily looking at her. There was a photo of toys scattered all over the floor. What's going on? Children quarreling. Kujo-san liked to cry when she was young. Miki Kujo, who was sleeping with her eyes closed, snorted non-committally. There was a photo of Rin Kiyono wearing a small suit and Miki Kujo wearing a wedding dress, smiling cutely. Miki, is it your second marriage? Shut up. How pitiful. There was a photo of Rin Kiyono carrying a black backpack and Miki Kujo carrying a red backpack when they were in first grade. This one is the cutest. Are you a lolicon? Rin Kiyono asked. If it's this cute, and it's the two of you, maybe I'll really become a lolicon. Watanabe-san, what you said can already be considered a criminal declaration. I'm praising you. Before Toru Watanabe could finish speaking, Miki Kujo pinched his thigh hard. Ouch! From then on, Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo's expressions became more and more awkward. After that, there was only Rin Kiyono carrying a backpack, but her face was expressionless. Rin Kiyono carrying a backpack in middle school. She was lonely, strong, and beautiful. After looking through the photo album, the food downstairs was not ready yet. With nothing to do, Toru Watanabe lay down and continued looking through the photo album. Because the temperature was too comfortable, he unknowingly fell asleep. In a daze, he had a dream. Kamigawa, after school. He said goodbye to Keisuke Saito and didn't go to the human observation department. Instead, he went downstairs directly. Looking out from the corridor of the school building, it was probably winter. The sky was dyed red, and for some reason, the clouds were spiraling. He looked down and saw Rin Kiyono sitting alone on a bench under the ginkgo tree in the courtyard, looking at the spiraling clouds. She stopped observing human beings and started observing the sky. Stargazing at the night. A practical guide to astronomical observation can finally be put to use, he thought to himself. He walked down the stairs. Through the glass window in the stairwell, he saw Rin Kiyono sitting alone. He was about to walk up to her, smell her fragrance and talk to her. What should he say? Should he tell her the reason for the clouds? Her footsteps were light. It was winter, but there was the sound of cuckoo chirping. He felt a faint warmth in his heart. Why did he feel this way? He didn't understand. If he could continue walking down this path, it would be good. He walked down the last step, and only needed to walk forward to enter the courtyard. He called the girl's name. Watanabe. He was about to walk forward when he heard a voice calling him from behind. He turned around. Miki Kujo stood on the landing between the first floor and the second floor with her arms crossed. Watanabe. Yes. Get up. Toru Watanabe didn't open his eyes. He wriggled toward the source of the voice until he touched his knees. He pressed down on his knees that were trying to escape, raised his head slightly, and rested his head on it. Miki, I dreamt of you. Let me say hello to you in my dream. Toru Watanabe mumbled. His right cheek that was pressed against her smooth thigh was slightly deformed because of the softness. A warm feeling spread to him. Ah, it's so soft. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to sink in. Toru Watanabe gave a defenseless smile. He rubbed his cheek against the soft thigh that made him feel decadent. Miki, you're amazing. Let's call it a day. I'm going to sleep like this. Hiss hiss. Before he could finish, his face was hit hard. A foot-shaped object stepped on his face. His mouth was crooked. The touch, size, and temperature were all in the shape of Miki Kujo. Wait. Toru Watanabe's mind instantly became clear. If the one stepping on his left cheek was Miki Kujo, then the thigh on which his right cheek was resting. Whose thigh was it? He opened his eyes. Rin Kiyono's expression wavered. Her face was flushed, and she looked away. Miki, listen to me. Ugh. As he spoke, Toru Watanabe tried to get up, but Miki Kujo stepped on him. Just like in his dream, she crossed her arms and looked down at him with a cruel expression. She was attacking him from above and below. Toru Watanabe pouted. Miki Kujo's foot twisted vigorously on his face, as if she wanted to crush his face. Toru Watanabe hugged her foot with both hands. Miki, you're pretty good at the time. You're standing on top of thick cotton leaves and calling me. I mean, it's you. Watanabe-san, can you get up? I'm going to sue you for harassment. Sorry, Noya wants to piss you off. Just as he was wondering if he was enjoying or being tortured, there was a knock on the door. Rin Miki-kun Watanabe, it's done. Come out. The voice was gentle. It was Kiyono's mother. Miki Kujo finally removed her foot. Aunt Kiyono, you really are my mother. Just as he was thinking this, Toru Watanabe's ear was grabbed and pulled up by force. Are you going to fall in? I thought it was you. So soft. I thought it was you. You're going to sleep? I thought it was you. Squeaky? I thought it was you. Kiyono's mother looked at Toru Watanabe's red ears and asked curiously, what's wrong? Kun Watanabe, what's wrong with your ears? It's nothing. I just slept in a bad position. Then why are you rubbing your face? Kujo's mother asked. My face is numb too. What sleeping position? Why are you like this? The two mothers were curious. Rin Kiyono turned her face away and stretched out her snow-white shoulders under her Christmas dress. She was shaking slightly, trying to hold back her laughter. Miki Kujo glanced at her and snorted. Okay, let's start the Christmas party. Kiyono's mother pressed a switch, and the castle-like chandelier above them went out. Apart from the fireplace, the living room was pitch black. But the next moment, the lights on the 10-meter-tall Christmas tree lit up with the song Jingle Bells. Although it wasn't bright, it was enough light to see the surroundings. It filled the entire living room. Under the pressure of their mothers, the five of them each held a firecracker. Kujo's mother counted. 1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas. Everyone started the firecrackers. After the firecrackers, the 5 of them drank a glass of wine. 3 of them weren't old enough to drink yet. Okay, let's exchange gifts. Kujo's mother put down her wine glass and said impatiently, Kun Watanabe, I've prepared an excellent gift for you. Are we exchanging gifts directly? Toru Watanabe asked. Of course not. Although I really want you to get it, you have to abide by the rules. Kujo's mother clasped her hands together, causing waves to surge in front of her chest. Toru Watanabe averted his gaze and decided not to look at her. I've already asked someone to prepare it. Kiyono's mother rang the bell, and a maid walked over and bowed to everyone. Toru Watanabe watched this scene in confusion. Kiyono's mother explained, Kuan-sang will sing a song today. We'll pass each other's gifts clockwise. When Kuan-sang stops, the gift in his hand will be his own Christmas gift. Kuan-sang bowed again. What about mine? Rin Kiyono asked. Then let's continue. Do you understand? Kiyono's mother looked at the 3 young people. Let's begin. Toru Watanabe took out the Christmas gift he had prepared. I can't wait. Kun Watanabe is really impatient, but I don't hate him. Kiyono's mother said this sentence. Kun Watanabe is my son. Kujo's mother reminded. He's our son. Kiyono's mother smiled and looked at the maid standing by the side. Kuan-sang, sorry to trouble you. Yes. The maid named Kuan-sang jingle bells softly. Her voice was soft and pleasant to the ears. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what funidistoride. The 2 beautiful girls refused, but the 2 aunties were in high spirits. Not only did they sing along, but they also peeked at other people's gifts from time to time. Women always said that men were children who never grew up, and they would always be young girls. Kuan-sang were sitting on a sleigh, and stopped singing. Did anyone get their gifts? Kiyono's mother asked. No. Toru Watanabe answered. I didn't either. Rin Kiyono said. No. Miki Kujo didn't get it either. Us too. Let's start opening our gifts. Let's start with Kun Watanabe, okay? No problem. Toru Watanabe got Rin Kiyono's ugly bag. The second one was Miki Kujo. She got Kiyono's mother's Christmas gift, a white wide-brimmed sun hat. Let's go to New Zealand for a holiday this winter. Just as Toru Watanabe was thinking about why he would get a sun hat in winter, Kiyono's mother suggested. Okay. Miki Kujo nodded. Thank you, auntie. The third one was Rin Kiyono's Christmas gift from Kujo's mother. Amazing. When Rin Kiyono opened her gift, Kujo's mother said. After that, Rin Kiyono took out a red box the size of a cigarette box from the beautifully wrapped box, with the word 0, 1 inch written on it. I prepared it for Kun Watanabe. After all, he's still young. Kujo's mother said. Auntie Kujo. Rin Kiyono clasped her hands and put them on her forehead. Her face was facing the table, and her tone was full of helplessness. Don't be angry. Why don't you exchange gifts with Kun Watanabe? Kujo's mother pretended to have a good idea. In my hand is Kiyono's Christmas gift. Toru Watanabe waved the ugly designer bag in his hand. Then only Miki can exchange gifts with Rin. Kujo's mother looked at her daughter. Miki Kujo took a deep breath, put the white sun hat on the table, and reached out to take out the box of 0, 1 inch. Rin Kiyono didn't stop her. No one knew if she acquiesced or if she was still in a daze. Miki Kujo's slender white hand and the red box formed a strong contrast. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but peek. Miki Kujo noticed his gaze and threw the box on his lap. Take it. We also. Be careful. Kujo's mother looked at the 2 gently. Chapter 200. Kiyono's mother got the belt prepared by Toru Watanabe, while Kujo's mother got her daughter's bath gel. Both of them were very satisfied. Next, everyone shared the cake baked by Kiyono's mother, and ate the fried chicken made by Kujo's mother. In addition, there was a variety of dazzling food. Roasted suckling pig, sausages, ham, stewed meat, steak, lamb chops, pork chops, mashed potatoes, French fries, ketchup, pastry tarts, ice cream, salad, various puddings, various fruit pies. roasted duck, pan-fried buns, spring rolls, dumplings, puffs, biscuits. Kyoto's kaisha cuisine, Osaka's takoyaki, Hokkaido's seafood, Nagoya's grilled eel, Tokyo's sushi, Nagano's buckwheat noodles, Kyushu's puffer fish. All of these dishes were placed around a huge golden roasted turkey, filling the long table. Kun Watanabe, how's the fried chicken? I haven't made this in a long time, Kujo's mother asked. Toru Watanabe dipped the fried chicken in chili sauce and took a big bite. Honestly? He asked the 4 people in the room in a tentative tone. Go ahead, there's no need to be polite with me, Kujo's mother said with a smile. Compared to me, there's still a gap. Kun Watanabe knows how to cook? Kiyono's mother was dipping sliced suckling pig in white sugar. This scene reminded Toru Watanabe of Hokuji Bridge. When he was studying and traveling, Rin Kiyono said that she dipped suckling pig in white sugar. No, he said. I worked in a supermarket near Nishi Shinjuku Station, in charge of the cooked food section. Cooked food section? Yes, mainly oden, all kinds of fried food and fried chicken. I worked 5 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 weekends. During the time I was in charge, the cooked food section's turnover was much higher than other times. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I was the little prince of the cooked food section. That good. I want to try it, Kujo's mother said expectantly. It's useless even if you're good. The boss has never given me a raise. Besides these, what other jobs did Kun Watanabe do? Kiyono's mother asked curiously. Don't talk nonsense, Rin Kiyono and her mother said at the same time. What nonsense? Toru Watanabe was unhappy. Kiyono classmate, when did I lie? Rin Kiyono put down the apple pie in his hand. She calmly said, You're always trying to be smart. Then she pointed out the truth. You're just good looking. You guessed? Toru Watanabe asked. Am I wrong? Rin Kiyono asked. I'm so handsome. No matter what I do, I'll inevitably be affected. Use your brain more to think about serious matters. Don't think about lying all day long. Rin Kiyono said bluntly. Everyone has their own situation. With my intelligence, I can easily deal with serious matters. That's why I have a lot of time to relax my brain. Intelligence? In front of me? Number 1 in the country. Toru Watanabe puffed up his reindeer chest. Using grades to measure a person's intelligence already proves that you're not smart enough. Moreover, you're narrow-minded. Amazing. Not only is your brain useless, but you're also denying my vision. Is this what you call paying me back double? Rin Kiyono covered her mouth with her hand to hide her smile. At this moment, Kiyono's mother's voice sounded. She was also smiling. Stop arguing, you two. Kun Watanabe, did you hear what I just said? Crap. This word popped up in Toru Watanabe's mind. Sure enough, from the corner of his eyes, Miki Kujio was also looking at him from the corner of her eyes. Their eyes met. She meant, I'll deal with you later. In addition to the supermarket, I've also held up billboards. But that kind of work requires me to pay the part-time company a dispatch fee. It's also very tiring. Unless I'm short of money or have other reasons, I won't do that. So you heard my question. I thought you only had eyes for Ling. Kiyono's mother pretended to be surprised. Miki Kujo ate the king crab leg in boredom. Under the table, she stepped on Toru Watanabe's foot as if nothing happened. She ground it hard. The reindeer suit was really good stuff. It was thick enough. Toru Watanabe felt like Miki Kujo was giving him a massage. Right, I should find an opportunity to let Miss Kujo give me a massage. Toru Watanabe pretended to be in pain. Kun Watanabe, Kujo's mother asked curiously. Can you tell me about your family's situation? My family's situation is very ordinary. Toru Watanabe continued the topic. A remote village, very poor. How poor is very poor? Kiyono's mother's tone had no malice. She was just curious. Toru Watanabe thought for a moment. In front of every house, I cut firewood and pile it under the eaves. It's very vivid, Kiyono's mother said with a smile. After all, it's hard not to have a rich imagination when thinking about improper things all day long. Rin Kiyono, who was eating a roasted suckling pig with chopsticks, rolled her eyes at him. Honey, Miki Kujo pulled out a crab leg meat. and made a gesture of feeding Toru Watanabe. "Thank you, sweetheart." Toru Watanabe opened his mouth. Miki Kujo ate the crab leg meat herself. The two mothers chuckled. Toru Watanabe ate a strawberry the size of a baby's fist and continued to speak. "But firewood is used less now. It's piled up there, and if you don't pay attention, animals will build nests on it." They quietly listened to Toru Watanabe finish speaking. "What animals?" Miki Kujo asked. "Sometimes it's birds, sometimes it's snakes." "Snakes?" Kiyono's mother was a little scared. "Yes. I saw snakes lay eggs with my own eyes. Later, my father asked the villagers for a cat, but the cat slept on the firewood all day long. The birds and snakes were all gone." Toru Watanabe ate another strawberry. Miki Kujo picked up the wine and asked, "Tell me about your father. Do we have to talk about this at Christmas?" Toru Watanabe looked around at the people around the table. "Compared to the indecent things you think about all day long, this is very serious." Rin Kiyono wanted to eat steak. Kujo's mother brought the plate to her, and she thanked her softly. It was the best steak, fried until half done, cut into long strips, and drizzled with special sauce. "My father is a very ordinary person." Toru Watanabe's image of his father emerged in his mind. He neither cares about the economy, nor is he interested in who is the prime minister. The only thing worth showing off in his life is that when he was young, he climbed Mount Fuji on a motorcycle. Climbed Mount Fuji? Well, that was when he was in high school. Toru Watanabe nodded. Later, the Yamaha motorcycle that he was afraid of being stolen, even when he was asleep, was sold after he married my mother. He replaced it with a Honda Coyote, which is convenient for transporting goods. What an amazing father. Toru Watanabe nodded. Then he shook his head and said with a smile, "No matter where the father is, it's the same. What about your mother?" Rin Kiyono wiped her lips, which had just eaten steak, with a napkin. "My mother is even more ordinary. Other than me, she doesn't seem to have anything worth showing off." But then again, Toru Watanabe laughed. Climbing Mount Fuji on a motorcycle isn't something worth showing off. Parents' greatest pride will always be their children. Kiyono's mother looked at her daughter with both pride and sadness. Miki also suffered a lot. "Come, mommy will feed you." Kujo's mother held a piece of special blue and white fish sushi in her hand. Miki Kujo picked up the plate and gestured for her mother to put it on top. Kujo's mother, Kiyono's aunt, Miki's and Kiyono's classmates are indeed excellent. But it's not that I'm conceited, but whether it's music, sports, or grades, they are no match for me. What did you say? Queen Miki Kujo looked at him. Say it again. Watch your words, Toru Watanabe. Kiyono's majestic gaze shot over. Music? Kujo's mother remembered and said, by the way, Kuin Watanabe's oboe is very good. Why don't you play it for us as a Christmas event? I heard about it too. Kiyono's mother looked at Toru Watanabe expectantly. Kujo's mother, Kiyono's mother, you are all my mothers. Ignoring the two beautiful girls' sharp eyes, Toru Watanabe said to the two wives, of course it's my pleasure. Kiyono's mother called a servant and asked her to go to the instrument room to get the oboe. When the servant was about to leave, she called her again. By the way, get 2 more trumpets. Yes. Aunt Kiyono's going to play it too? Of course it's you young people who play it for us. Miki's also learning trumpets? Toru Watanabe asked Miki Kujo curiously. I've also learned percussion instruments, Miki Kujo said with a smile. Do you want to try? Of course if I'm free. The servant brought the instruments. The 2 granddaughters of Santa Claus, a cute buck, played Jingle Bells and Santa's Daughter. The trumpet was originally a solo instrument with a loud and clear sound, but Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo did not give way to each other. Coupled with Toru Watanabe, who was shaking his head and playing the oboe like a swona, the sound was a mess. But it was very much like a Christmas party. It was very lively. Kujo's mother sang a song in Italian. Her high-pitched voice was gorgeous and clear. Toru Watanabe changed the rhythm to match her. When Kujo's mother finished singing, Kiyono's mother sang a jazz song with a contralto. After that, Miki Kujo was forced by her mother to sing Matsuda Seiko's Uniform. Rin Kiyono sang, blooming like a rose, scattering like cherry blossom petals. It was Toru Watanabe's turn. As soon as he opened his mouth, the four of them asked him to continue playing the oboe. The atmosphere was lively. Bursts of happy laughter resounded in the spacious living room, shuttling back and forth between the branches of the 10-meter-tall Christmas tree. Kujo's mother and daughter sang a song, accompanied by Rin Kiyono's trumpet. "The roast pig is gone," Kiyono's mother suddenly said. There was not a whole roast pig on the table. Instead, it was sliced and served on a plate. The most delicious part was taken. Kun Watanabe. Kiyono's mother stood up. "Sorry to trouble you." "Okay." Although Toru Watanabe wondered why the servant did not serve it, he still stood up. The two of them left the living room and walked into the kitchen one after the other. Kiyono's mother did not let the chef cut it. Instead, she put on gloves and did it herself. Toru Watanabe held a plate. The knife cut through the roast pig skin, making a crisp sound. A layer of shiny grease gradually covered the knife. Just listening to the sound made Toru Watanabe want to eat. Kiyono's mother cut the roast pig and set the plate, saying, "Kun Watanabe, how is your relationship with Rin?" "We're friends." Toru Watanabe looked at the roast pig and wondered which part of it was best. "If you're friends, you should know a lot about Rin." "Yes." Toru Watanabe stopped eating and waited quietly for her to continue. "Kun Watanabe, since that incident, you've been Rin's only friend. I hope you can help her." "Help her? She can't lie about it." "Do you think it's a bad thing? What do you think? Is it good or bad?" Toru Watanabe looked at Kiyono's mother. She was obviously a rich lady, but she was very skilled in cutting the roast pig with a knife. "I think it's good either way," he said. "I told Kiyono that I would be her friend forever. No one can stay with someone who can see through lies forever." Kiyono's mother continued cutting the roast pig. Tetsumasa Watanabe wanted to say something, but Kiyono's mother interrupted him and spoke before he could. "You're young now. You've only known her for less than a year. You don't feel anything because she's new and beautiful. In a few years, when you're 20 or 30, can you guarantee that you can still stay by her side? Then I should be used to it," Toru Watanabe said with a smile. Kiyono's mother looked up at him and said jokingly, "What if you run away halfway?" "Run away halfway? It's not compulsory. Of course, you can leave her at any time." "I understand what you mean. You can't expect others to accommodate her. You have to let her change herself? If that's the case, of course it's the best, whether it's for Ling herself or for Kiyono's family." The roast pig was placed in a position that it couldn't, and was absolutely unwilling to do on its own. "How pitiful." "I'm sorry, Aunt Kiyono," Toru Watanabe said. "Just now I said it's good either way." "Actually, that's not right. It should be. As long as it's Kiyono's own decision, anything is good." Kun Watanabe. Kiyono's mother placed a piece of roast pig on the plate in Toru Watanabe's hand and looked into his eyes. "You like my daughter?" "Huh." Toru Watanabe was shocked. "Why do you ask this?" "Miki and I are dating. Since you don't intend to help Ling change, in order to not let her be alone, I can only make it so that even if you can't bear it, you can't run away. You can only continue to get used to her." "Are you scared?" Kiyono's mother laughed, like an adult playing a prank on a child. "I won't force you. Do you want to make up your mind while you like Ling so much that you can bear her shortcomings? You can leave everything to me." Toru Watanabe didn't know if she was hinting at the Kujo family when she said leave everything to me, or if she was saying that when he couldn't bear Rin Kiyono anymore, he wouldn't be able to run away. After a moment of silence, Toru Watanabe said, Are there any more crabs? You're so stingy. You only put a little bit. It's not even enough for my Miki." Kujo's mother walked in accompanied by a few complaints, a few smiles, and a voice that sounded like the melody of a musical instrument. "Crabs are cold. It's not good for girls to eat too much." Kiyono's mother replied with a smile, then turned her head and said to Toru Watanabe, "Kun Watanabe, you too. No matter if it's a man or a woman, your stomach will feel uncomfortable if you eat too much." "Oh, okay. Don't listen to her nonsense." Kujo's mother laughed and scolded as she walked closer. Kuin Watanabe, isn't the point of having money so that you can eat what you want when you want to eat? Kuin Watanabe is not a rich person. Moreover, if you have money, you need to protect your body even more, Kiyono's mother said. My son, who said he doesn't have money? Kujo's mother picked up a piece of roasted suckling pig from Toru Watanabe's plate. The crispy skin was crunched, and there was a crisp sound. We're not even married yet. You're in too much of a hurry to be my mother-in-law, Kiyono's mother said with a smile. Kujo's mother did not reply to her. While eating the roasted suckling pig, she said to Toru Watanabe, Kuin Watanabe, in the future, if you want to buy a luxury car, a yacht, eat any delicious food, or wear any expensive clothes, it's fine. Oh. But in terms of women, you can only have Miki, Kujo's mother said with a smile. She looked very similar to Miki, so much so that when Toru Watanabe saw her smiling face, his heart had a conditioned reflex. Of course, he promised. You're lying to me, right? Why would I? Kuin Watanabe, I'm not speaking as the head of the Kujo's family, nor as the Kujo's mother. I'm just speaking as an ordinary person. It's fine if you treat me as an older sister or a friend. I'm talking to you as such. Don't feel burdened. You're really young. If I wasn't Mickey's boyfriend, I would have thought that you were only 20 years old. This child, you really know how to talk. But this is all thanks to you. That's not true. You're young to begin with. Kuin Watanabe, the Kujo's family will not do anything to let you down. We'll let you enjoy life to the fullest. But you have to promise me that you'll never do anything to let Mickey down in the future. Of course. Kujo's mother picked up a piece of roasted suckling pig and put it in front of Toru Watanabe's mouth. Holding a plate, you can only look but can't eat. How pitiful. I'll feed you, Auntie Kujo's mother. Toru Watanabe leaned back. Stop fooling around. Kiyono's mother took off her gloves and said with a smile, Hurry up and bring it back. Okay, I'll leave first. Toru Watanabe hurriedly left the kitchen. Kujo's mother put the piece of roasted suckling pig into her mouth. The skin is crispy and the meat is tender. Unfortunately, it's too greasy. Aren't you here to get some crabs for Mickey? There's some in the tank that just arrived. The chef is steaming them, Kujo's mother said. But you're too much. That's the husband that Mickey likes. He's also Rin's only friend. Then there's no other way. Kujo's mother licked the grease off her fingers and said indifferently, There's only war left. Wow, you're very confident. I won't lose to you. Kujo's mother reached out and pinched Kiyono's mother's belly. With that little belly of yours? I don't even have a belly when I'm standing. Also, you just became pregnant recently, right? Chapter 201. The Christmas party started just after dark and lasted until 8:30. Toru Watanabe didn't know what the two ladies were going to do next, but the three young people were going to watch the lantern show. The girl took off her Christmas dress, and Toru Watanabe also took off his reindeer suit. They left the palace-like villa. The moonlight was clear and bright, and the surroundings were quiet and peaceful. The hustle and bustle of Tokyo couldn't reach here. The car was already parked in front of the door. It's a rare opportunity. How about we walk to Tokyo Tower? Toru Watanabe suggested. Walk? Miki Kujo crossed her arms. Yes. I looked at the map. It only takes 30 minutes to walk to Tokyo Tower from here. On the way, we can stroll around the mall and look at the lights along the way. It's Christmas, driving might not be as fast as walking. Rin Kiyono nodded gently. Then let's go. Miki Kujo didn't care. The temperature at night was much lower than during the day, and the three people's breath turned into visible white smoke. What did they say to you when you were in the kitchen for so long? Miki Kujo asked with her arms crossed. Roast suckling pig or crab is better, Toru Watanabe answered. Miki Kujo wore a red trench coat with a hat, and a white shirt with beautiful creases on the chest. Her slender legs were exposed under a brown short skirt, and she wore black pantyhose. Walking on the quiet street in the winter night, she looked like a moving red rose. Watanabe-san, which one do you think is better? Rin Kiyono gently breathed into her palm. In front of them, do you think I have the right to choose? I'll eat whatever I have. As the three people walked out of Nagata village, the street gradually became lively. When they stood at a large intersection, they looked around and saw a Christmas atmosphere. The street was decorated with sparkling lights, and pedestrians came and went. Christmas songs poured into their ears, and they didn't know which shop it came from. The temperature seemed to have risen a lot. While waiting for the traffic light, someone greeted them from behind. Kiyono, Koen Watanabe Kujo. Toru Watanabe turned around and saw Aoi Ichiki waving as she walked towards him. Behind her were Mayasahi, Asako Hanada, and Yoshimi Tamamo. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe leaned over and whispered in her ear. This guy is a lesbian. Be careful. By the time he finished speaking, Aoi Ichiki and the others had just walked up to them. Good evening. Good evening. Everyone greeted each other briefly. Kiyono-san, where are you guys going? Yoshimi Tamamo, who had a circle of white fur around her collar, asked. Tokyo Tower. Rin Kiyono replied indifferently. Us too. Do you want to come with us? Yeah, the more the merrier. It's easier to get separated. Aoi Ichiki agreed. That's pretty good. Miki Kujo said as she crossed her arms. Toru Watanabe was a little surprised. Why would Miki Kujo say something like that? Before he could cast a questioning look, Miki Kujo grabbed his arm and forcefully pulled him onto the zebra crossing that had just turned into a street light. Kiyono-san, you can play with them. My Watanabe and I also need some private space. Toru Watanabe was dragged away and turned around to look back. The crowd stood in place and watched them leave. Rin Kiyono opened her mouth, but in the end, she closed it without saying anything. Aoi Ichiki and Yoshimi Tamamo seemed to be suggesting which restaurant to eat later. Asako Hanada nodded on the side. Tomorrow's Linen Mai's clear eyes looked over. Toru Watanabe looked away. After crossing the zebra crossing, he pulled his sleeve out of Miki Kujo's hand. Are you going back? Miki Kujo asked with a smile. There was no warmth in her expression. It was colder than the December night. Toru Watanabe didn't answer. He just held her hand. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. Miki Kujo's expression softened. Her smile gradually became warmer, and her eyes became contemptuous. The two of them walked hand in hand like they were ordinary lovers. They followed the crowd and walked towards Tokyo Tower. On the sidewalk, a street singer wearing a Christmas hat was singing. There were quite a few people around, and they also listened for a while. Tokyo, that I've been to countless times, the beautiful city that you live in. Tokyo, that I've been to countless times, the city of flowers that you live in. Bloom. The singer didn't look at the audience. He looked at the night sky affectionately, and occasionally strummed the guitar in his hand. It's a good song, but what does it have to do with Christmas? Toru Watanabe lowered his head and asked. How would I know? Miki Kujo leaned into his arms. Maybe it's because he came from another county to chase his dream. He misses his family during the season of reunion. So do I have to sing too? Tokyo, that I've been to countless times. Miki Kujo put her hand on Toru Watanabe's lips. After dropping a $100 coin into the box, the two of them continued to walk. In front of them was a family of three. The father was wearing a suit, probably because he just got off work. The mother was wearing a long trench coat. Between the two of them, the child holding their hands jumped up from time to time. Mom, when will Santa Claus come? He'll come after you fall asleep tonight. But we don't have a chimney. Santa Claus doesn't go through the chimney anymore. The father lowered his head and smiled. The child turned his head and looked up. Then where does he go? Where does he go? Dad wants to know too. Xiaoji, do you want to guess? The child looked at the sky and thought. He didn't look at the road as he was led by his parents. Before he could think of an answer, his attention was attracted by Santa Claus, who was giving out balloons. The street was lined with ginkgo trees, decorated with lights. It was like a dream, like a fairy tale world. When Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo passed by, Santa Claus also gave them a balloon. Toru Watanabe took it in his hand. Miki, when did you stop believing in Santa Claus? Before school. I thought you didn't believe in it from the beginning. Rin Kiyono also had times when she sucked on a pacifier. I understand, but why do you have to use her as an example? You can't bear to? Please tell me, how old was she when she wet the bed? Miki Kujo first glared at him, then put on an uninterested expression. You can ask her yourself. She won't lie anyway. Not lying doesn't mean she will answer this kind of question, right? Forget it. How do you know Santa Claus is fake? I made a wish to receive a star, but it never came true. I did get a few meteorites with holes. Santa Claus is so pitiful. Miki Kujo raised her elbow and gently poked Toru Watanabe's chest. Then when did you stop believing in Santa Claus? I didn't believe in that kind of thing from the beginning. I said I believed, but you said you didn't. Are you deliberately trying to appear mature? I've never even wet the bed. Sure enough, you lied to me. I knew you weren't telling the truth. I think when you confessed, you said you fell in love with me at first sight. That was also a lie. Miki Kujo left Toru Watanabe's arms and walked forward quickly. Wait, I'm telling the truth. Toru Watanabe chased after her with the balloon. Miki, listen to me. I'm not listening. I'm really not lying to you. How could I lie to you? Miki Kujo, who was wearing a red windbreaker, hugged her elbows and strode forward with her slender legs. Okay. I wet the bed. Miki Kujo stopped and asked him coldly, how old? 6 months? Miki Kujo walked forward again. 1 year. Miki Kujo was very satisfied. She leaned her slender body into Toru Watanabe's arms again. It's not easy to be in love, Toru Watanabe said with a sigh. You've never wet the bed before, and you dare to say that to me? Miki Kujo poked his nose with her finger. Even if you're lying, you should be more convincing. Yes. Really? You're really going to lie to me? No. They thought they would have to walk for a long time, but in the blink of an eye, they saw the orange Tokyo Tower. If they stood on the tower and looked down at the illuminated Tokyo, they would see a river of lights. There were many people lining up to climb the tower, but it was enough to just look at it from below. The multicolored neon lights were constantly changing. The starry lights covered the streets in the winter night, bringing light and warmth. Looking at these lights, all the gloominess of this year would be relieved under the baptism of light, and they would look forward to next year. Just as they were lost in thought, a cold wind blew. Toru Watanabe was fine, but Miki Kujo couldn't help but shiver. Perhaps she felt that her ears and cheeks were cold, so she put on the hood of her coat. Under the hood, her delicate face looked even more adorable. Toru Watanabe couldn't help but be fascinated by her appearance. Miki Kujo noticed the change in his eyes, and the corner of her mouth raised into a proud and contemptuous smile. Toru Watanabe pulled her into his arms, held her cheeks under the hood, and gradually moved his lips closer. His face was close, and Miki Kujo's fair face began to tremble. Under the Tokyo Tower, her black eyes reflected the light of the stars. When Toru Watanabe heard the sound of her heart beating faster, her long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings, and she closed her eyes. Their lips met. Toru Watanabe saw the bright lights, the interweaving people, the gorgeous Tokyo Tower, and the shy roses from the corner of his eyes. The world was full of light and color, and the scenery was beautiful. Everything was romantic and warm. When the two of them separated, Toru Watanabe realized that the thin man who was holding Miki Kujo had unknowingly embraced her. Miki Kujo also hugged him, and her rosy face leaned against his chest. The place where the two of them were was warm and romantic. The winter night was no longer lonely, and the cold wind was no longer bleak. Watanabe. Her voice rose and fell like the most beautiful melody in the world, and it was as warm as the world's most powerful Gulf Stream. Toru Watanabe hugged her tightly, smelling the fragrance of her hair. I'm not going anywhere. His tone was full of affection. He personally put the ring on Miki Kujo's finger. If she was here, he would stay here. The system's mission, the high-quality New Year's gift, and the skills beyond his level. Toru Watanabe didn't want to be bound by anything except himself. The color of the Tokyo Tower suddenly changed. Miki Kujo pushed Toru Watanabe away. What's wrong? He asked. I'm going back. Miki Kujo tidied her hair. Ha. Toru Watanabe looked at his watch. It's only 9:10. I want to stay with you a little longer. If you're afraid of the cold, we can find a restaurant. No. Then I'll go back with you. Stop. Kujio Miyoshi tapped Toru Watanabe's forehead as he was about to hug her. I have work to do today. No. Toru Watanabe was a little speechless. Can't I take a day off for Christmas? I'm going back home tomorrow. It's because it's Christmas that you have to work hard. What do you mean? Toru Watanabe was puzzled. Miki Kujo crossed her arms and ordered. You don't need to know the reason. Just listen to me. Okay. Toru Watanabe was confused. He didn't understand what his queen was thinking. Miki Kujo got into a luxury car that was parked on the side of the road and merged into the crowded traffic. Toru Watanabe, who was left in the same place, felt the cold wind and began to hesitate whether or not to continue the system quest. After thinking about it, he decided to take a taxi home. After waiting for a long time, the taxi still didn't show up, so he had to walk to the Kamiya tram. On the road, the pedestrians looked at him strangely. Toru Watanabe looked at the balloon in his hand, wondering if he should give it to a passing child or tie it to a tree. If he had a girlfriend, it wouldn't be strange for him to carry a girl's bag or wear high heels, let alone a balloon. After walking for 5 minutes, Toru Watanabe, who was about to eat something, saw a familiar figure. Rin Kiyono was wearing a white turtleneck sweater, a long cardigan and a long brown skirt. Under the illumination of the street lights, her black hair swayed, making her look especially charming. Kun Watanabe, why are you alone? Where's Kujo-san? Aoyachiki looked around. She suddenly said she had to work, so she went back. Toru Watanabe had a headache. She has to work on Christmas Day? Kujo-san must be working hard. Aoyachiki nodded and said sympathetically. Then what's Kun Watanabe going to do? Go home. Kun Watanabe lives alone, right? He has nothing to do at home. So do you want to continue walking with us? Aoyachiki suggested. Toru Watanabe looked at them. Tomomi Tamamo's face was filled with displeasure, Hanada Chako's small face was filled with nervousness, and her figure was slender and slender. She had a small bag on her shoulder, and her expression was indifferent. Forget it. He shook his head. You're going back to Iwate Prefecture tomorrow, right? Stay a little longer today. Rin Kiyono's tone sounded more like an order than a discussion. Okay. Toru Watanabe followed them back. Waiting at the crossroad, Aoyachiki suggested that they go to Tokyo Tower to eat ramen. Watanabe-san. Toru Watanabe, who was looking at balloons to kill time, retracted his gaze and looked at Rin Kiyono. You said before that we don't have the right to choose, and that we eat whatever we have. What? Oh, who did you say about roasted suckling pig and crab? I don't think it's a disaster to have no right to choose, to fall into misery and despair. Then what is it? I think it's a time for people to grow. An answer that suits your identity. Toru Watanabe nodded. Rin Kiyono suddenly turned around and stared straight at him. What's the matter? Toru Watanabe felt uncomfortable under her stare. You don't have the right to choose, and you just go with the flow. Even if you look good on the outside, your heart is already rotten. I'm sorry to say that your heart is rotten. Rin Kiyono chuckled at Toru Watanabe's attempt to change the topic. You told me before that the time you missed the most was working every day, right? Suddenly, there was a soft cheer from the crowd. It was snowing. Aoyachiki shouted. It's a white Christmas. Amidst the cheers, Rin Kiyono tucked her long hair behind her ear and spoke softly, but firmly to Toru Watanabe. No matter what you choose, Watanabe, you have to be yourself. White snow fell between the two of them. After a moment of silence, Toru Watanabe sighed as he took off his jacket and draped it over Rin Kiyono's shoulders. It doesn't matter if I'm myself or not. Don't catch a cold. Chapter 202. It was the first snow of the year. Snowflakes drifted down from the night sky, fluttering in the wind. It's a white Christmas. It's so nice to be out tonight. It's so beautiful. I'm so lucky. Is it because I'm with you? Are you cold? Shall I hug you? Okay, amidst the sound of wheels rolling on the road, the couples waiting at the traffic lights were brewing a special atmosphere. Everyone was happy. Toru Watanabe also smiled and asked Rin Kiyono, "Does this count as admiring the moment when the rain turns into snowflakes in the middle of the night?" "Let's not talk about the time first. It's just snow. There's no rain. No matter how far-fetched it is, it doesn't count." Toru Watanabe's coat was too big for her, and the contrast made her figure look even more slender and well-proportioned. The originally imposing and inviolable noble beauty had become petite and cute. So calculative? Toru Watanabe opened his hands, and snow fell on his palms. "There's more." Rin Kiyono's tone became heavier. "There's more? There's more." Rin Kiyono looked at the loose coat on her body. "I thought I knew you well enough. I didn't expect that your bottom line is still beyond my imagination." "What do you mean? Can you not do this kind of thing without permission? It's fine if you're frivolous. You can barely be considered humorous. But if you're frivolous in your words and actions, you're just a pure pervert. You hate it." Toru Watanabe clenched his fists. A chill came from where the snowflakes melted. "Not only do I hate it, but I also dislike it. Sure enough, the more beautiful something is, the more painful it is." Toru Watanabe put his hand on his forehead and sighed. "I won't give my coat to anyone just because it's beautiful. I can't deny that it's beautiful." Rin Kiyono touched the corner of her mouth gracefully. Toru Watanabe was speechless. But looking at Rin Kiyono, she didn't seem angry. "Wait. Arsand, I have a question." "Ask away." "Is shyness also a kind of rejection?" Toru Watanabe bent down slightly, tilted his head, and stared unblinkingly at Rin Kiyono's face. "Are-san? Arsan." Toru Watanabe drawled. "Ah." Aoi Ichiki exclaimed. "How cunning. Kun Watanabe only gave Kiyono a jacket." Everyone turned around. Mayasahi blinked twice and stared at the clothes on Rin Kiyono's shoulders. "It can't be helped. Kiyono classmate is physically useless, but she's also my friend," Toru Watanabe said. "I'm your friend too. Why don't you give it to me? Since when were we friends? They were just classmates who were close to each other." "Oh right, I can give this to you." Toru Watanabe finally got rid of the balloon. Aoi Ichiki held the balloon in her hand and let out a disappointed sigh. "Itsuki classmate, don't make things difficult for Watanabe classmate." With Kujo classmate looking at him, "Other than me, do you think he would dare to have any other female friends?" Rin Kiyono laughed sarcastically. Toru Watanabe glanced at this woman. He shouldn't have let her go just now. "Watanabe, are you cold?" Mayasahi's voice was like the snow, without any warmth, but pleasant. "Thank you, senior. I'm not cold at all. Every morning, I only wear short sleeves for my morning jog." Mayasahi walked over and suddenly held Toru Watanabe's hands with both hands. "A dash!" Aoi Ichiki exclaimed. The balloon in her hand left her hand and slowly rose into the night sky against the first snowfall. Asako Hanada covered her mouth with both hands. She was like a primary school girl who saw two people kissing in front of her on the tram. "Senpai?" Toru Watanabe was so scared that he was almost sweating, let alone feeling cold. Seino Rin had already begun to ponder. After 3 seconds, Mayasahi nodded lightly. "Yes, I'm not cold." "Senior." Aoi Ichiki came back to her senses and quickly pulled her away. "This kind of thing, no matter how natural it is, you can't do it." Mayasahi tilted her head and looked at her in confusion. How should I say this? I know you just want to know if Kun Watanabe is cold, but suddenly holding a boy's hand, this kind of thing." Before Aoi Ichiki could finish her explanation, Mayasahi looked across the road. "The light is green." "What? Oh. The topic ended there. Under the command of the traffic police on Christmas Day, everyone followed the crowd and crossed the road. They first went to Tokyo Tower, then wandered around the streets for a while. Finally, the snow got heavier, so they hid in a shopping mall. Rin Kiyono returned the jacket to Toru Watanabe. "Thank you. It's my duty to protect beautiful women." "Ah, so as long as it's a beautiful woman, you will give her a jacket." I thought you only cared about me. In my heart, only you are a beautiful woman. Lies. Please call this sweet talk, or to make you happy. The purpose of entering the mall was to hide from the snow, but after buying the milk tea, it quickly changed to buying clothes. Under the lead of Yoshimi Tamamo, the group went to the floor where women's clothes were sold. Toru Watanabe sat on a bench beside the escalator and took out a free magazine to read. The girls, young women, and women who passed by kept looking at him. Some directly came to talk to him, but Toru Watanabe rejected all of them expressionlessly. It was normal for women to like him if he showed a charming smile. Even if he rejected them verbally, this liking would turn into obsession. Although he had a girlfriend and a lover now, he was not a casual person. Other than Aoi, and Senpai, he would not look at other women, in terms of love. When Tetsumasa Watanabe was staring at an article in the magazine called Street Parade, Famous Eastern Kyoto Lantern Show, someone called his name. Watanabe. Toru Watanabe looked up and saw Aona Koizumi, Huangzi, and Miyazaki Miyuki walking towards him with bags of various sizes. Why are you sitting here? Aona Koizumi looked at him in confusion, then at the shop opposite. Opposite was a women's underwear shop. Don't tell me, Huangzi mischievously guessed. Targeting women with big breasts, and then asking them to go to a hotel tonight? Good idea. Why didn't I think of that? Toru Watanabe turned the magazine to the back. It was a romantic champagne golden tree walk in Marunouchi. It said, on the 2 kilometers long Marunii Chudamo, 2 rows of about 200 trees were hung with more than 1 million champagne golden LED lights. And the power source of all the light bulbs was... Hey, are you looking down on me? Huangzi took the magazine and flipped through 2 pages. Seeing that it was not about women's underwear, he immediately put it back to the magazine rack beside the escalator. What's the situation, boy? Miyazaki Miyuki, who had big breasts, asked. If Toru Watanabe really did what Huangzi said and did that kind of thing, she would definitely become a target. Aona Koizumi looked inside the shop and guessed. Are you waiting for Kujo-san? No, it's Kiyono-san and the others. Toru Watanabe looked at Aona Koizumi, his eyes sweeping past her pink lips. This shopping mall was not far from the Tokyo Tower. It could be considered as the Tokyo Tower. The mission required the remaining 3 people to kiss. All of them were gathered here. Toru Watanabe realized that this was an opportunity. However, except for Miyazaki, he did not have any plans to kiss the other 2. Miyazaki also had to wait for an opportunity. Now that there were more and more girls present, there was no time to be alone. So it's Kiyono-san. Aona Koizumi nodded. She looked as if she was accustomed to Toru Watanabe's public infidelity, and did not think that there was anything wrong with it. Huangzi's eyes lit up, thinking that he caught the main point. Aona Koizumi's relieved gaze turned into a scrutinizing one again. Toru Watanabe tilted his head and looked into the shop through the gap of the wall formed by the 3 people. There, it's them. He raised his chin towards the 5 girls who were picking out underwear in the shop. The female teachers turned around and looked into the shop. These are all your harem? Huangzi pointed at them and asked Toru Watanabe in surprise. How is that possible? Toru Watanabe shook his head. Except for the few from my school, I don't know the other customers and employees. Huangzi waved her arm. The shopping bag in her hand hit Toru Watanabe's knee. Are the teachers here also planning to buy underwear? Toru Watanabe asked. Aona Koizumi was too embarrassed to admit it in front of the students. Of course. Huangzi didn't feel embarrassed at all. Do you want to be the staff officer? Is there such a good thing? Since it's a teacher's order, then there's nothing I can do. Toru Watanabe sighed and stood up. Huangzi looked at him with disdain. Miyazaki Miyuki pointed at Toru Watanabe and said to Aona Koizumi, Aona, this is your favorite student? Yes. Aona Koizumi answered a little reluctantly. Koizumi-sensei, I like you the most. You answering in such a hesitant tone hurts my heart. Don't say stupid things so loudly. I can hear it in the shop. Rin Kiyono crossed her arms and stood at the entrance of the shop, looking over coldly. Sorry. If there were only female students of the same age, Toru Watanabe would be too embarrassed to follow them in. But with the older teachers here, he didn't feel any burden. Toru Watanabe followed the 3 teachers into the underwear shop. 12s, 34s, full cup, traceless front buckle, cross straps, no shoulder straps, white, red, black, pink, and blue. These weren't strange to Toru Watanabe. Miki Kujo might not like all of them or have worn all of them. But whether she liked them or not, it didn't affect her whether she wore them or not. She had everything in her closet. Everyone knew that if Miki Kujo had them, it meant that Toru Watanabe also had them. The female customers in the shop became more reserved. They deliberately lowered their voices when choosing the styles. Of course, there were also girls with good figures who deliberately raised their voices and acted more boldly. "It's so beautiful. Do you want to try this one? Does it look good? I think it suits you very well." Listening to their conversation, Toru Watanabe studied the faceless mannequin in front of him. It had perfect curves, so it looked good no matter what it wore. "How long are you going to stare at this laced underwear, Watanabe-san?" "I didn't pay attention to the style at all. I was thinking that it's impossible for everyone to have a body like the mannequin. Is this cheating?" Fortunately, it was Rin Kiyono who spoke. Otherwise, Toru Watanabe wouldn't be able to clear his name. He was staring at the mannequin just now, so he didn't pay attention to it at all. He was also thinking about the problem in a female underwear store. Who else could be such a serious handsome boy other than him, Toru Watanabe? It was too perfect. "Did you buy it?" Toru Watanabe asked Rin Kiyono with a satisfied mood. "I'm still hesitating. Do you need help?" Facing Toru Watanabe's good intentions, Rin Kiyono not only didn't feel grateful, but also glared at him. "You stay here obediently." After saying that, she walked away. She didn't want him to know the size, or she didn't want him to see what style she bought. Toru Watanabe's memory was very good, so he could clearly recall seeing Rin Kiyono's underwear. It was the second day after the end of the first semester's final exam. The piano training was very late. Asako Hanada asked him to meet at a coffee shop, and then he met Rin Kiyono. Yes, at that time, she was listening to a song, and then in order to get the Don Quixote, he followed her to her apartment, and on the sofa, at the crucial moment of his memory, Toru Watanabe's body was pulled. Ha! Before he could react, he was already in the dressing room. The room was narrow, and through the full-body mirror, Toru Watanabe's eyes met with his own. Beside him was Mayasahi. "Watanabe," whispering in a low and charming voice, Mayasahi put her arms around his neck and put her lips on his. Before Toru Watanabe could come back to his senses, there was a wet, soft, and warm tongue in his mouth. There was no need for him to react, and he couldn't. He hugged her tightly. The feel of the long sweater, the soft and slender waist, and the softness of her chest were transmitted to his brain through his nerves, stimulating his emotions. Mayasahi's hand reached for his belt, and his hand reached for the buttons of her skirt. After an unknown period of time, "Senior, I'm done." Aoi Ichiki's voice came from outside the curtain. Toru Watanabe came back to his senses. At this moment, Mayasahi's back was facing him, and her hand was holding the full-body mirror. The highest peak of the mountain range was flattened because it was close to the mirror. Her face was flushed, and her eyes were clear and blurred. Toru Watanabe stopped. Her neck and face, which were originally raised, were pressed against the mirror as if they had no strength. The hot breath from her mouth made the mirror foggy. "Senior." Aoi Ichiki's voice came from outside the curtain again. Toru Watanabe quickly woke up Mayasahi, who was in a daze. When Aoi Ichiki called for the third time, Mayasahi said, "I'm still trying. It's very troublesome to change clothes in winter." "Oh right, senior, don't be in a hurry to change clothes." As soon as he finished speaking, Aoi Ichiki's footsteps could be heard. Toru Watanabe secretly lifted the curtain a little. Very good, very safe. He was about to go out, but just as he pulled up his pants, Mayasahi pulled him back. "Senior, I want to go out." Mayasahi's long hair fell vertically on his lower abdomen. As it swayed, Toru Watanabe was speechless. "Senior, I chose a set for you. Try it." The curtain was lifted slightly, and a hand handed in a set of underwear. Mayasahi was busy squatting on the floor. Toru Watanabe had no choice but to reach out and take the set of white underwear. I think senior will like this kind of simple style. Wrong, Yimi. The underwear your senior is wearing is so bold that it's beyond your imagination. None of this mattered. The key was, now, how was he going to get out? Toru Watanabe lifted Masahi's long hair and tucked it behind her small white ears. He began to think about this problem. Chapter 203. Toru Watanabe had read a lot of books. He went to Kamibocho's bookstore every week, so he understood a lot of things. So he heard the saying, when you talk about high school life, you will think of roses. But he never thought that high school life could be so rosy. If anyone has been blocked in the changing room and successfully escaped, please write a letter. Address: East Kyoto Chiyoda District, Kiwacho 1-173-1. Recipient: Tokyo handsome Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe sat cross-legged on the blanket, crossed his arms, and let his imagination run wild. In front of him, Masahi slowly and satisfactorily changed her underwear. Her skin that was usually wrapped in her uniform was boldly exposed, and her curves were alluring. Senpai, try this, I think it goes well with the underwear just now. Aoi Ichiki handed over one set after another, and her tone became more and more excited. This can't go on. Although he didn't know what Kiyono Kami-sama was doing now, Toru Watanabe wasn't confident that he could hide it from her when she finished buying her underwear and came here. He didn't plan to hide Masahi from her, but he also had to look at the situation. Toru Watanabe stood up, and Masahi was buttoning her underwear. He whispered in her ear, "Senpai, let Itsuki classmate go get the underwear on the model at the door." There were 2 changing rooms in this store, so there were 2 of them. They were now in the innermost part of the store, so Aoi Ichiki went to the door, and there was enough time for him to sneak out. Masahi nodded, and said to the outside, "Itsuki, let me try the underwear on the model at the door." "Okay. Senpai, wait for me." Dong dong dong, the sound of distant footsteps. "I'm leaving," Toru Watanabe said to Masahi. Masahi wrapped her warm and smooth hands around Toru Watanabe's neck and kissed him affectionately. Toru Watanabe didn't dare to linger. He only touched her for a moment before pulling away. "Senior sister, poke your head out and see if there's anyone you know nearby." "Yes." Masahi lifted the curtain a little and poked her head out to look around before retracting it again. She shook her head at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe held her hand reluctantly and then walked out decisively. Masahi's expressionless face showed a hint of disappointment. The next time they interacted like this would be next year. Before her sadness could reach its peak, Toru Watanabe, who was halfway out, hurriedly crawled back in. Because he was in too much of a hurry, he accidentally stepped on the clothes that she had casually taken off on the floor, and almost slipped. Toru Watanabe unleashed his master-level kickboxing ability to its fullest extent, and stabilized his body immediately. He pressed the finger of his right hand on Masahi's lips, signaling her not to ask why and to keep quiet. In less than a second, a voice sounded. "Let's choose this first and try it on." "I've chosen to." "Let's go together." It was the voice of Aona Koizumi and the others. Toru Watanabe was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. Fortunately, they weren't looking at him just now. Otherwise, they would have seen him walk out of the fitting room. "Ah, this room is taken. I'll share it with you." It was Huang Zi's voice. "Sure. We can see if we're suitable for each other," Aona Koizumi replied. Next, there was the sound of the curtain being lowered. The 2 of them should have entered the fitting room. Toru Watanabe breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, he realized that the finger he pressed on Masahi's lips was already in her mouth. It was warm and moist. Just a few minutes ago, it belonged to another part of his body. His lower abdomen was warm, but Toru Watanabe didn't continue to let it go. Suppressing the distracting thoughts, Toru Watanabe pulled out his finger. He didn't have time to wipe off the saliva on it. He turned around and was about to lift the curtain. "Senior, I brought it." Toru Watanabe's breath was stuck in his chest, and he almost fainted. Just a little bit more, and he would have lifted the curtain. Fortunately, he was just a little bit away. Masahi hugged Toru Watanabe's waist from behind and pressed her face against his back as if she was seeking something. The curtain was lifted slightly and Aoi Ichiki handed in the set of lacy underwear. Masahi whispered in Toru Watanabe's ear with a hoarse and charming voice due to her passion. "Che, help me take it." Toru Watanabe reached out and took the lacy underwear. "I didn't expect that senior would also like this style." Aoi Ichiki's laughter could be heard. She was happy to discover another side of the person she liked. Masahi began to change into the underwear. The world was quiet for a moment. Toru Watanabe could hear all kinds of sounds. Masahi's voice. Outside the curtain, Aoi Ichiki was softly humming a song. Also, in the fitting room next door, Aona Koizumi and Huangzi were taking off their clothes. The sound of clothes rubbing against each other could be heard. "Aonai, did you grow bigger?" "No, this sweater shows off your breasts." "What sweater?" "So shy. I want to buy one too." "You're so annoying. Stop touching." Once again, everyone, Toru Watanabe has a very good memory. Aona Koizumi was wearing a long white trench coat and a light pink turtleneck sweater today. The hem of the sweater was tucked into the knee-length skirt. On the skirt, there was a small black belt around the waist. Once again, everyone, Toru Watanabe has quick reflexes and a rich imagination. At this time, Aona Koizumi should have taken off her trench coat. She pulled the hem of the sweater out of the skirt, then raised her arm and took it off. Under the sweater, her round, soft, and bulging breasts should be jumping up and down along with the sweater being taken off, right? Then, she continued to take off her sweater. She took off her clothes under the sweater. Now, Aona Koizumi was wearing a skirt on the lower half of her body, and only her underwear on the upper half of her body. Her small, tight waist. Then she would take off her underwear and expose her breasts to the air. Wait. That's it. Toru Watanabe withdrew his thoughts from his fantasy, never to return. The real world would not stop because he stopped thinking. In the fitting room next door, there was the sound of clothes rubbing against each other. After taking off her clothes with great effort, there was the sound of light panting. "Che." There was a delicate voice. Masahi's hand reached over. Toru Watanabe was pulled into another world. The calm surface of the lake started to ripple again. Women were very slow when it came to buying clothes. Not only did Masahi stay in the fitting room, Aona Koizumi and Huangzi, who were next door, had the intention of trying on all the underwear in the shop with Miyazaki Miyuki's help. Toru Watanabe was glad that Rin Kiyono also had times when she sucked on a pacifier. She was also an ordinary girl. So far, he had not heard her voice. She should be in another fitting room with Asako Hanada and Yoshimi Tamamo. Masahi's finger gently slid over the mirror that was covered with mist from her body temperature. She opened her watery eyes. There were remnants of tiredness and satisfaction in them. Toru Watanabe hugged her tightly. He stroked her hair and smelled it. Their cheeks were pressed against each other. Her face was so hot that it was as if she had a high fever. After a while, Toru Watanabe let go of her. He pretended to take out a necklace from his trouser pocket. "Senior Mai, this is your Christmas present." He put it on for her. Under the thin necklace, there was a small silver base horn. It sparkled under the warm lighting in the fitting room. The silver base horn fell on Masahi's snow-white skin. Masahi stared at it without blinking. "I heard that you wanted to play the oboe, so I wanted to give you the oboe. But after thinking about it, I chose the base horn. Do you like it?" Toru Watanabe asked softly. "Yes, I like everything about Toru. I will always wear it. I'm sorry I can't give you more." Toru Watanabe's voice was gentle. Masahi shook her head gently. Her soft bangs swayed gently. "I'm willing, and I'm the one who caused trouble for Toru." Toru Watanabe held her hand and said softly but firmly, "Now let's not say such things. Everything is voluntary. I'll listen to Toru." Masahi hugged Toru Watanabe's neck again. There was the sound of a dress being unbuttoned next door. Huangzi went out. It was Miyazaki Miyuki's turn to try on clothes. "Miyuki, I have a few sets here. I think they'll suit you." Aona Koizumi's voice was gentle and pleasant. Aona Koizumi should only be wearing underwear now, right? Just thinking about that scene made his blood boil again. I can't wear your size. Miyazaki Miyuki said with a little pride. I know your size. Aona Koizumi said with a smile. Look at the pattern and style first. If you like it, ask Huangzi to bring the bigger size over. Okay. My Asahi put on her clothes, tidied up her hair, and put the tissue into the bag. Toru Watanabe listened to the movements next door and outside the curtain. After confirming that Huangzi went to choose underwear, he whispered to my Asahi. Senpai, tell classmate Itsuki that she's ready to wear clothes. Ask her to help put these underwear back. My Asahi repeated his words and handed over the underwear in the fitting room. After waiting outside for so long, Aoi Ichiki wasn't tired at all. It was unknown whether it was because there was a seat or because she was too excited. She walked away with a cheerful gait. As usual, he asked my Asahi to poke her head out to check the situation first. Toru Watanabe looked at my Asahi's butt, who only stuck her head out and bent her waist, and his heart was filled with desire again. The time was too short. It didn't satisfy his desire, but made him even hungrier. But indulging in the land of tenderness wasn't something he should do now. My Asahi retracted her head and shook her head at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe didn't linger any longer. He opened the curtain and observed the situation, especially the direction where Aona Koizumi came from. After confirming that there was no one, he quickly walked out. It was safe. When he walked out of the door, he met Aoi Ichiki, who had just returned. Kun Watanabe. Where did you go just now? I went to the other floors. Toru Watanabe said. Are you guys done yet? Soon. Tomorrow senpai and I are done. Hanada-senpai, Kiyono-san and Tamamo-san. There are 3 of them, so it should take some time. Girls are so troublesome. They take so long to buy underwear. Kun Watanabe, you don't understand. Aoi Ichiki shook her finger and preached. Girls' underwear isn't as simple as boys. There are many styles, from cute to sexy. It's not easy to find the right underwear to bring out your charm. Is it necessary? It's not like it's the ultimate underwear. Of course. Kun Watanabe, do you know about the hot girls group in Harajuku? I've been to Harajuku, and I've heard about the hot girls, but I didn't pay much attention to them. I've seen a magazine interview with them. There's a line in it. Being exposed isn't scary, but when you're exposed, your underwear won't be cute. That's why every girl's underwear must be cute, just in case they're exposed. I probably won't be able to understand hot girls for the rest of my life. After listening to Toru Watanabe's words, Aoi Ichiki giggled. Hurry them up. Toru Watanabe said. Boys need to be patient. You'll make girls hate you. Fine. You guys take your time. I'll wait outside. Toru Watanabe walked out of the store and felt that the air was fresher. He interlocked his fingers, stretched his arms forward, and cracked his shoulders. When everyone finished shopping and gathered at the store again, Toru Watanabe had already memorized 2 magazines. Out of human instinct and greed, he had thought more than once that he should have stayed in the store longer. Of course, it was only a thought. If Rin Kiyono knew about this, she would have given him a lecture titled, Regret is the Most Useless Emotion. But before that, she would probably say something else. Be careful and remember to go back early. Okay. Take care, sensei. Okay. See you next year. Bye-bye. The 6 of them watched the 3 sensei disappear into the crowd. Toru Watanabe looked away and asked the remaining 5. What's your next plan? Take the tram to the harbor park. From there, you can see the Christmas fireworks on the stage. Aoi Ichiki had obviously done her homework in advance. Sorry, I'm a little tired. I'll go back first. Rin Kiyono was carrying a black bag in her hand. What kind of underwear was inside? What kind of color and style? Toru Watanabe thought about this question and said, I'll go back too. I still have to go back to my hometown tomorrow. The 2 of them said goodbye to the other 4. When they left the mall, it was still snowing outside, but it was much lighter. Toru Watanabe gave his jacket to Rin Kiyono. Thank you. Rin Kiyono's beautiful and cute face shrank into the collar of his jacket. Are you very cold? The ground is covered with snow, and it melts to absorb heat. It will feel colder than before. Do I have to teach you this common sense, Toru Watanabe-san? I see. Toru Watanabe pretended that he didn't see her shyness. They went to the station. The platform was crowded. Most of them were couples or family members who came out to play on Christmas Day. When they finally squeezed into the tram, there were no more seats. The two of them had to stand. This wasn't a big problem. Living in Tokyo, how could they not squeeze into the tram? They would be laughed at. The two of them occupied the door position. Toru Watanabe relied on brute force to protect Rin Kiyono. The tram shook and moved forward with a clanging sound. When the tram stopped at the Parliament Hall station, another large group of people got on. This time, it was completely crowded. In order not to take up too much space, Toru Watanabe also moved a little closer to Rin Kiyono. There was still a gap between the fabric of their clothes, but probably only dust and light could squeeze in. When the tram started, the carriage suddenly shook. Toru Watanabe's footsteps were very steady. He didn't move at all. However, Rin Kiyono, who was in front of him, didn't have a handrail. She stumbled and fell into his arms. Are you okay? I'm fine. Sorry. Rin Kiyono raised her head. Toru Watanabe looked at her, amused. She rolled her eyes at him. Clang. Rin Kiyono's face fell into his arms again. Are you okay? Yeah. Rin Kiyono combed her slightly messy bangs. Toru Watanabe looked at the night sky outside the window. Clang. Why don't you just lean on me? Rin Kiyono didn't say anything, nor did she raise her head. The two of them looked at the night sky outside the window at the same time, and then looked away at the same time. The glass window in the night was a mirror. At that moment, Toru Watanabe clearly remembered that his emotions were very strange. He asked himself, do I want to hold Rin Kiyono in my arms? The answer, it doesn't matter if I don't hug her. There was no lust. Her face was pressed against his chest, but why did he feel hot? No matter how shy a person's face was, it couldn't be like a piece of hot iron, right? Not to mention there was still a layer of clothes between them. So, was it because of himself that he felt the heat? He didn't have an answer to this question. The tram had already arrived at the Four Valleys station. Toru Watanabe walked Rin Kiyono to the front of the apartment. Watanabe-san, thank you. Rin Kiyono returned his coat to him. Toru Watanabe put on the coat, straightened his collar, and said with a smile, I'm the one who got lucky. Huh? Rin Kiyono tilted her head and looked at him in confusion. This coat has your scent, so I'm going to sleep with it tonight. Rin Kiyono sighed with a headache and rubbed her forehead. Watanabe-san, even if you're a pervert, your ambition is so small that it makes me despair. This is the most simple wish of a young farmer from Iwate Prefecture. Rin Kiyono laughed and covered her mouth elegantly. You're going to embarrass Iwate Prefecture and the farmers. Toru Watanabe also laughed, but finally sighed as if he was tired and waved at her. I'm leaving. He turned around and walked back to his rented apartment. He put his hands in his pockets and pulled his shoulders together to prevent the snow from falling on his neck. Watanabe-san. Toru Watanabe turned around and looked at Rin Kiyono in the snow. Merry Christmas. Toru Watanabe was surprised for a moment. Then he took his right hand out of his pocket and waved. Merry Christmas. He put his hand back in his pocket and started walking again. After a few steps, Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono-san. Toru Watanabe turned around. If you miss me so much, why don't you come back to Iwate Prefecture with me for New Year's? Rin Kiyono took a deep breath. Okay. What did you say? Do you think they'd be willing to see me during New Year's, where they'd want to see you go bankrupt and still congratulate you on the surface? I'm asking you what you just said. Rin Kiyono brushed her long hair away from her shoulders. We'll meet at Shiya Station at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. This time she turned around and left first. I bought a ticket for 7 a.m. Forget it. Toru Watanabe took a deep breath and relaxed his shoulders. If the snow wants to fall, then let it fall. If he didn't vent his emotions, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So he decided to run back. This was the story of their first Christmas together. Chapter 204. December 25th, early morning. Temporary event ended. Calculating. Player kissed Miki Kujo and Mayasahi. Acquired. 1-month mastery level skill authorization *1. Acquired. Normal New Year gift package *1. Player open New Year gift package. 888 million renminbi New Year gift. 50% discount voucher *1. 50% discount voucher *1 December 25th. Early morning. Toru Watanabe ran through an alley in the residential area and sat on the steps in front of the Suga shrine. While eating a sandwich and drinking milk, he looked at the balcony of a house on his right. The balcony was full of potted plants. The potted plants were small and looked very delicate. Obviously, they were taken care of. Not long after, the 3 old women who were doing morning exercises walked over at the speed of a race. "Come on, Japan's future depends on you." They kept walking and said to Toru Watanabe, "Of course. Thank you." Toru Watanabe turned his head and waved his hand to thank them. They didn't know when it started, probably when they saw him running on a rainy day, but they thought that Toru Watanabe was an athlete. When Toru Watanabe left, in the Suga shrine, the priest began to clean the snow on the path. When he returned to his rented apartment and took a shower, it was already 7 o'clock. There was still some time before the appointment with Rin Kiyono at 9 o'clock. Toru Watanabe prepared to meet Miki Kujo. On the way to the villa, he looked at the street lights on the trees. It was romantic last night, but it was an eyesore during the day. "You actually woke up?" Toru Watanabe was surprised to see Miki Kujo, who was neatly dressed. They had slept together for so long, but he had never seen Miki Kujo wake up so early. No, it was the Monday after the Imperial Tea event. He deliberately went to school early and met Kujo, who was accompanied by bodyguards. "Didn't you have a ticket for 7 o'clock? Why are you here?" Without waiting for Toru Watanabe to answer, Miki Kujo said, "Forget it, follow me." The two of them got into the luxurious car. "Where are we going?" Toru Watanabe asked. Miki Kujo sipped her coffee. "Head office." Although Toru Watanabe wondered why he had to go to the company, he had more important things to do now. "Miki." He hugged Miki Kujo's pantyhose feet and massaged her thighs. Miki Kujo looked up and glanced at him. She placed the coffee cup on the small table in the middle of the armrest and massaged her forehead as if she had not slept well. She closed her eyes and said, "Speak, what's the matter?" Last night." Toru Watanabe tried his best to explain how Rin Kiyono would be going to Iwate Prefecture to celebrate the new year with Miki Kujo. The car fell into silence. Robot Shizuru looked at Toru Watanabe, as if she was looking at a dead man. Toru Watanabe gently kneaded Miki Kujo's beautiful legs and tapped them from time to time. The car drove past Tsukiji Market. Miki Kujo suddenly opened her white and tender right hand. "Give me the gun." "Miki, shut up for this young lady." Shizuru took out the gun, removed the safety and placed it in Miki Kujo's hand. Miki Kujo retracted her legs from Toru Watanabe's arms. She stood up and knelt on the seat between Toru Watanabe's legs. Her left hand grabbed his collar, and the gun in her right hand was pressed against his temple. "Once or twice. Do you really think I won't dare to kill you?" "No, Miki, listen to me. I was just saying it casually. I was just complaining." "Complaining?" Miki Kujo's voice was cold. "Are you not going to refuse? Do you need me to teach you?" Toru Watanabe's eyes were on Miki Kujo's chest. He glanced at the gun on his temple. Question: Is it a real gun? Answer: 1000% question: Is it dangerous? Answer: Hard to say. Question: Are you sure you can take it? Answer: Yes. Question: Then, after taking the gun, how will Miki Kujo react? Answer: Toru Watanabe didn't even dare to think about it. Miki, listen to me. It's definitely not what you think. You want to quibble again? In Toru Watanabe's understanding, this sentence was full of murderous intent. Spit it out if you have something to say. Kiyono said that people like her are not welcome at events like the Lunar New Year. At this time, as a friend, she wants to come to my house for the Lunar New Year. Can I refuse? There's no reason to refuse, Miki. Don't you think so? No reason to refuse? If I want to kill you now, do you have a reason to refuse? Yes. Miki Kujo's lips curled into a smile that said, "Let's see what else you can say." Of course, trying to find warmth from this smile was better than hoping for a Gundam to fly down from the sky. In order to prove that I don't intend to do anything to Kiyono, I came to tell you. Where do you want to bury the body? Wait. I'm not done yet. Toru Watanabe could only use his trump card. Miki, I'm here to invite you to go back with me. I want you to meet my parents. Miki Kujo carefully looked at Toru Watanabe for a few minutes before pushing him away. She opened her hand and Shirlu carefully took the gun, and immediately turned off the safety. Miki Kujo sat back in her seat and leaned back. Her hands were on the center armrest, and her feet were naturally crossed. When other couples quarrel, they would at most fight. Why do we have to use guns? Toru Watanabe complained in a tone that sounded like he had just survived a disaster. Miki Kujo snorted coldly as if saying, "You're already lucky." She closed her eyes and didn't say anything. Shirlu didn't know why, but she looked at Toru Watanabe with a slightly surprised and admiring look. 10 minutes later, the car stopped in front of the company. The three of them got off the car. Miki Kujo walked in front while Toru Watanabe and Shirlu followed behind her. "Miss Master, good morning." "Miss Master." Along the way, the company employees bowed and greeted them. They took the elevator and didn't go to the office on the top floor. Instead, they went to the conference floor. As soon as they got out of the elevator, a shrewd-looking middle-aged woman walked to Miki Kujo with a pile of documents. "Miss, everyone is here." Miki Kujo casually said, "Okay." When they came to a large conference room with double doors, Shirlu stopped and stood guard at the door. Toru Watanabe also stopped and prepared to sit in the lounge area at the entrance of the conference room. He wanted to text Rin Kiyono about the situation here. "What are you doing?" Looking at Miki Kujo's sharp eyes, Toru Watanabe asked tentatively, "Should I go in too?" Miki Kujo didn't answer, and walked into the door opened by the middle-aged woman. Toru Watanabe had to follow. When he passed by the middle-aged woman, he softly thanked her. The middle-aged woman bowed her head to him. The conference room was as large as an auditorium. The ceiling was high and ornate, and the floor was covered with an expensive carpet embroidered with Kujo rattan. In the middle of the conference room, there was a long table that could seat dozens of people. The heavy office chairs were also black. The chairs were already filled with people, all of them middle-aged or older, wearing suits and leather shoes. At this time, they all stood up and bowed in the direction of Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo walked to the head of the table and sat down in the position that symbolized the president. On the wall behind her, there was a huge sculpture of Kujo rattan. "Sit." Yes. Everyone sat down in unison. At this time, Toru Watanabe was only halfway in. He wanted to see how the middle-aged woman would sit, but she kept walking behind him. Miki Kujo looked over and noticed the hesitation on his face. She pointed to the chairs against the wall for those who were not qualified to sit at the conference table. "Get a stool and sit next to me." Toru Watanabe looked at Miki Kujo's seat. She was at the head of the table, and the person closest to her was at least 2 meters away. He was just her son-in-law. "That's not good, right? I'll just sit here. Come here." Miki Kujo's tone was firm. "Okay." Before Toru Watanabe could get a stool, a short middle-aged man at the conference table quickly stood up and helped him get the chair before he could. "Are you Kun Watanabe? You're indeed a talent. Come, please sit," the short middle-aged man said with a smile. "Oh, thank you." The other executives present were disdainful of the short middle-aged man's behavior. Some turned a blind eye, and some were full of hatred and regret. Toru Watanabe sat down on the chair. "You've all received the information last night, right?" Miki Kujo asked. "Is there a suitable candidate?" A skinny old man in the middle raised his hand. "Director Nagashima." Miki Kujo nodded. The old man with the surname Nagashima stood up. "I recommend Shinozaki." Toru Watanabe noticed that the people present looked at the middle-aged man at the head of the table. "Tell me about it." Miki Kujo's tone was non-committal. After Shinozaki took over the real estate of the company, his performance has been the best every year. Now he's one of the 3 pillars of the Kujo Financial Group. His ability is outstanding. Outstanding? The person opposite the old man sneered. The former director in charge of the real estate betrayed the company's interests. After the president got rid of him, Shinozaki did what he should do. How can that be outstanding? Kakuta. The old man shouted angrily. His voice was particularly loud in the quiet conference room. Miki Kujo tapped her fingers on the table. The old man with the surname Nagashima hurriedly bowed to her and sat back down quietly. President. Another person stood up and bowed to Miki Kujo. I recommend Shinozaki. Reason. 15 years ago, the company didn't have any business in the steel industry. At that time, the previous president decided to expand the steel industry. No one dared to take over. It was Shinozaki, who was still a minister at the time, who started Kobe Steel from scratch. The man straightened his back and said confidently, "This mission was started from scratch. The mission this time is also starting from scratch. Executive Officer and Chuan is definitely the most suitable candidate." At this time, another person raised his hand. Miki Kujo glanced at him. The man got permission and stood up. I recommend Shinozaki. Before he could finish, someone close to him said with concern, I heard that Shinozaki is in charge of the hotel industry in Kagoshima. He owes the bank 1 billion. I wonder if he has paid it off. Ha ha ha. The conference room was filled with mocking laughter. The short, middle-aged fatty who helped Toru Watanabe move the chair had an ugly expression on his face. From time to time, he peeked at Miki Kujo's expression with a guilty look. Kagoshima Hotel is also one of the company's businesses. As soon as Miki Kujo spoke, everyone in the room quieted down. Since it's one of the company's businesses and owes money. She looked around and narrowed her eyes. How can you laugh? The conference room was so silent that you could hear a pin drop. Most people lowered their heads in silence, not daring to meet her gaze. Toru Watanabe, who was in a trance, even heard the sound of some senior executives swallowing hard. Toru Watanabe looked at Miki Kujo. She sat at the head of the table. The directors who controlled hundreds of millions and billions of yuan were like students in front of her. And Toru Watanabe could kiss and hug her whenever he wanted. He could even tear her pantyhose at any time. Miki Kujo didn't notice his lewd gaze. She stared at the senior executives in the room for a while and said, This meeting is to recommend candidates to see who is more outstanding, not to expose the truth. I'm sorry. The person who mocked Nosuke stood up and bowed deeply to Miki Kujo and the others. Let's not talk about past mistakes. It's a waste of everyone's time. Miki Kujo glanced at him. Sit down. Yes. The meeting continued. Toru Watanabe listened for a while and roughly understood what was going on. 3 executives were competing for control of an industry. Among them, Kishuin and Shinozaki were the most competitive. The other executive, Nosuke, seemed to be capable as well. However, because Kagoshima Hotel was not well managed, he had been caught red-handed. Toru Watanabe felt that he had heard the name, Nosuke, somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where. This was very unusual. After all, his memory was excellent to begin with. He worked hard every day to carefully recall something that he remembered. It was impossible for him not to remember, unless he had something more important to do at the time. Just as he was thinking about where he had heard the name, Nosuke, before, the meeting came to an end. Everyone had said what they needed to say, and they quietly waited for Miki Kujo to make a decision. Miki Kujo rested her hand on the armrest of her chair and closed her eyes to think. There was a moment of silence. Executive Nosuke. Yes. The short, middle-aged plump man reflexively stood up, his suit tight. You can go to Kanagawa. Yes. Miki Kujo also talked about the new year. She told all the directors that they didn't need to visit her, and that she was going on a vacation. After the meeting ended, Miki Kujo returned to her office on the top floor. Toru Watanabe strolled around the company. After a while, he heard the rumor that the executive director of Shinsuke Kujo had taken over the Kanagawa business because he helped the president's boyfriend move a chair. The rumor was vivid. Something like he was so handsome that the president liked him so much that she would take him everywhere. Something like he had the best grades in the country, so the president wanted him to participate in the business. In the future, it was very likely that he would take over the Kujo family as her son-in-law. Wait. Toru Watanabe almost believed it. When Miki Kujo came down with a suitcase, Toru Watanabe quietly asked her about it. How shameless are you? It's all because of you. Kujio Miki shoved the suitcase in her hand to him. The two of them went into the elevator, and Toru Watanabe pressed the button for the first floor. Then why? Toru Watanabe asked. I don't think the executive director of Nosuk is very outstanding. No matter how outstanding he is still a Kujo. This was my and my mother's decision. Oh, Toru Watanabe finally remembered. Is it that time when I hugged and kissed you, and your mother was watching us from behind? Yeah. Miki Kujo nodded. What kind of business is Kanagawa? I think all the sensible people want to go. They are completely unafraid of the risks. The beauty cream you gave me. Miki Kujo glanced at him. Although there are still many unknown ingredients, it is enough to enter the beauty industry, and it has a lot of advantages. What does that have to do with Kanagawa? Why do we have to go there? Toru Watanabe didn't understand these things. When your hometown, Izawa Village, was voting for the senator, because all the agricultural products were bought by a company called Maruto, this company asked you to vote for someone. Would your parents not vote? You know quite a lot about my hometown. Miki Kujo snorted noncommittally. If you want to become a senator in Kanagawa, you must have enough jobs and industries to support the local economy. Then if Nosuk fails, what will you do with him? Go back to Kagoshima. If he doesn't pay back the money he owes the bank, he will stay there for the rest of his life. The discussion about the company came to an end. Toru Watanabe's attention returned to the box in his hand. What's inside? The company's top-secret files? He asked curiously. The company's files and real estate are hidden in a hidden compartment in my changing room. If you want to see them, you can go there yourself next time. There's a hidden compartment in your changing room? Why didn't I know about it? There are plenty of things you don't know, Miki Kujo said in annoyance. It's fine. Toru Watanabe didn't care. We have a few decades. There's still time to slowly learn. If you want to live for a few decades, don't do things like asking Rin Kiyono to go back to your hometown. Didn't I invite you to come with me? Besides, she's my only female friend. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have the chance to. The two of them walked out of the elevator and headed for the door. If it's not a top-secret file, then what's in this box? Clothes. Miki Kujo answered curtly. Clothes? Toru Watanabe froze. Miki, you weren't planning to go back to my hometown with me from the beginning, were you? You should be glad that you took the initiative to confess to me. Miki Kujo sneered. When I go to Iwate Prefecture and see Rin Kiyono, I'm going to break your legs and take you with me wherever I go. Toru Watanabe put his arm around Miki Kujo's slender waist and pulled her into his arms. He laughed and said in her ear, I'm going to take over the Kujo family as the Kujo family's son-in-law. How ugly would it be if I broke my legs? Miki Kujo, who was just majestically reprimanding the director of a large conglomerate like a student, lazily leaned in his arms. Take over the Kujo family? Who allowed that? The company said so. It's called the People's Wish. The Kujo family is a family business. There's no such thing as the People's Wish. As expected of the capitalists and the old aristocrats, they dare to say things that trample on the people's hearts. Chapter 205. 8:40 a.m. Shiya Station. Rin Kiyono, who was wearing a white trench coat, shirt and jeans, saw Miki Kujo walking beside Toru Watanabe. She paused for a moment, then immediately showed an expected smile. Ah, what a coincidence. Rin Kiyono smiled and greeted her. Coincidence. Miki Kujo didn't look at her directly. Kujo-san, I knew you would come. She smiled confidently and said, After all, I'm such a beautiful girl. If it were me, I would also be worried that my boyfriend wouldn't be able to control himself. Don't talk nonsense. Toru Watanabe couldn't stand these people's narcissism. No matter how beautiful you are, I won't do anything to you. Kujo-san, Watanabe-san's words are true, Rin Kiyono said in a charitable tone. After hearing Toru Watanabe's words, she didn't mind at all. She had more or less studied this man named Toru Watanabe, and knew what he was thinking. You don't seem to feel guilty about being caught red-handed, Miki Kujo said sarcastically, shamelessly going to someone else's boyfriend's house. Only you can do that. We're all selfish people, so don't say such boring things. After saying that, Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe and sighed. It doesn't matter whether you go or not, but if you're going, I have to go with you and watch over him. Watch over me? Toru Watanabe asked. Am I a child? Without answering his question, Rin Kiyono saw through everything and said, Tell Kujo-san that I went to Iwate Prefecture. You must have suffered a lot just now, right? A little. You seem to be unhappy? Miki Kujo crossed her arms and looked at Toru Watanabe. No matter what, using a gun is. What? You brought another woman back to your hometown, and as your girlfriend, I can't be angry? It's not that I can't have children. Toru Watanabe. This was the first time that Miki Kujo called him by his full name. If I really wanted to kill you, would I let you talk nonsense? I'll throw you out of the car. It was homecoming season, and the station was full of people. The three of them had already attracted a lot of attention. When they saw Toru Watanabe being reprimanded, even more people were watching the show. Miki, if you want to scold me, we'll be there soon. Before Toru Watanabe could finish his words, Rin Kiyono chuckled. Her laughter was beautiful, even more beautiful than that of a nightingale, the most beautiful bird in the world. However, just like how they were immune to Toru Watanabe's smile, Toru Watanabe was also used to their occasional charm. Think about who caused me to be scolded. How can you laugh? Miki Kujo stepped on Toru Watanabe's foot. Because Toru Watanabe was imitating her tone during the meeting. Since it's my company's property, how can you laugh when you owe me money? Rin Kiyono sighed and restrained her laughter. Watanabe-san, you took the initiative to tell Kujo-san about me going to Iwate Prefecture. I can see that you're a responsible person. Responsible? Miki Kujo glared at Toru Watanabe. You're just afraid that I'll find out later. Miki, that's where you're wrong. I definitely didn't tell you because I was afraid that you'd find out. I can swear on Shibuya Station. Toru Watanabe raised his right hand. It's true. Rin Kiyono once again spoke in a charitable tone. No one asked you to judge whether it's true or not, Miki Kujo coldly said to her, then glared at Toru Watanabe. At least you still have some conscience. Miki, Toru Watanabe said helplessly. I promised you, so I'll definitely stay by your side. Miki Kujo ignored him and said to Rin Kiyono. Did you hear that, Kiyono-san? He'll always stay by my side. That's true, but Kujo-san, you wouldn't think that he's doing this because you're more charming than me? Or because you're a threat, right? What do you mean? My main opponent has never been you, but Watanabe-san's stubbornness and wrong sense of responsibility. Stubbornness is one thing, but what do you mean by wrong? Toru Watanabe said in dissatisfaction. Rin Kiyono revealed a confident smile. His soul isn't free, and he can't see himself clearly, so how can he know whether the path he's persisting on is right or wrong? Freedom? What a joke. Miki Kujo raised her voice and refuted. Do you think that Watanabe-san has freedom? Rin Kiyono asked. Miki Kujo crossed her arms and stated her view of love in a firm tone. I want to twist his life so that he doesn't have freedom, from waking up in the morning to lying in bed at night. Whether he's resting or working, he'll only have me in his heart, and only me is allowed. Rin Kiyono was right. Miki Kujo was indeed the same as her. Both of them were bigots who followed their own principles to the end. What did the views of the world matter to them? Cruel? Tyrannical? Doing things based on one's preferences? They were just poisonous thorns on a rose. She would bloom more beautifully than anyone else. Whether he liked her or not, she didn't care at all. Very good. Rin Kiyono laughed again, this time with a happy smile. Only with such a firm will there be value in being defeated. Kujo-san, congratulations, from now on, you're also someone I'll be observing for a long time. And I'm looking forward to your expression after you failed. Failed. Miki Kujo sneered disdainfully. If people want to get along with each other for a long time, they have to rely on commonality and attraction, not oppression, binding, or flattery. This is my belief, Watanabe-san. Between me and Kujo-san, who do you think is right? Miki. It's a lie. Miki, don't believe her, Toru Watanabe said. Beautiful women love to lie. What do you mean? Miki Kujo narrowed her eyes. I'm not talking about you. Then you're saying that I'm not beautiful? No, I'm saying that you're not lying. Then aren't you saying that I'm not beautiful? Women's psychology was really inexplicable. Ding ding dang, ding ding dang, ding ding dang, ding ding dang. Toru Watanabe's phone rang. He didn't know which benefactor was calling. Let me take this call. Toru Watanabe took out his phone and pressed the answer button. Hello? Mom? 9 o'clock lunch? No need to wait. You guys can eat first. Okay, I'll be careful, bye. Toru Watanabe put away his phone. Ladies, my mom is rushing us. Let's save our progress for now. We'll slowly quarrel when we reach my house, okay? Then let's go. Rin Kiyono passed the blue suitcase to Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe took it subconsciously. Wait. Kiyono. You plotted against me. Miki, ouch ouch ouch. If you really can't do it, you can change to another one. My left and right ears are asymmetrical. It was the homecoming season at Shikigaya Station. There was an Azura arena of intrigue and quarrels between couples. From Shikigaya Station to Tokyo Station, they took the Shinkansen Yamaguchi. The three of them were in the green carriage. The seats here were more spacious and comfortable. There were fewer people, so the ticket price was naturally more expensive than normal carriages. The two beautiful girls sat opposite each other by the window. Toru Watanabe sat beside Miki Kujo. Did you bring anything back? With nothing to do, Miki Kujo asked Toru Watanabe. I didn't bring anything. You didn't bring anything? Other than clothes, I only brought a book by Kazuki Nagai. Clogs in a Sunny Day to pass the time. Hearing Clogs in a Sunny Day, Rin Kiyono, who was about to put on her headphones to read, looked up at Toru Watanabe. The last book she read was Clogs in a Sunny Day by Kazuki Nagai. Rin Kiyono showed a satisfied expression and smiled. She put on her headphones, hummed softly, and opened the book in her hands. This was also Kazuki Nagai's book. Miki Kujo glanced at her. She didn't understand why she was in such a good mood when she suddenly sang. Miki, you woke up early today. Do you want to sleep for a while? As soon as Toru Watanabe said this, Miki Kujo immediately felt sleepy. She had been working late for the past few days, and she woke up early today. Her body had been lacking sleep. She leaned her head on Toru Watanabe's shoulder, yawned, and prepared to sleep. Wait. Toru Watanabe stood up. What are you doing? Miki Kujo was dissatisfied. Toru Watanabe took out a blanket from the travel bag on the shelf. He covered Miki Kujo with the blanket and pressed her head on his shoulder. Okay, go to sleep. I'll wake you up when we arrive. Troublesome. Miki Kujo complained. Then, she wrapped the blanket tightly around her, adjusted her head to a comfortable position, and fell asleep. The departure bell rang. The train slowly accelerated, left Tokyo, and headed towards Iwate Prefecture. About 2 hours later, they arrived at Kumoishi. After that, they had to transfer. Toru Watanabe bought tickets at the ticket office. They sat in an old tram with only one carriage. The three of them sat in a row. Toru Watanabe looked at their luggage and didn't let them run around. The tram waited for about 10 minutes. The second wave of passengers didn't arrive, so it started to move. Following the tracks to the north, they left Kumoishi and the scenery widened. When I left, it was still spring. This place was full of green wheat. Hearing Toru Watanabe's voice, Rin Kiyono, who was reading a book, came back to her senses and looked out the window. Fields and wastelands came into view. The plastic canopy on the snow reflected the winter sun and looked very warm. Are we almost there? She asked. It's still early. Toru Watanabe replied. Rin Kiyono stopped reading. She closed the title page and looked out the window with Toru Watanabe at the scenery passing by. Soon, the tram entered a forest of fir trees. The trees were tall and straight, like thin towers rising from the ground. The light was blocked, and the inside of the tram became dark. Even the temperature seemed to have dropped. Miki Kujo, who was sleeping on Toru Watanabe's shoulder, tightly hugged his arm as if she was looking for warmth. Toru Watanabe helped her pull up the blanket to prevent the wind from entering her neck. With great difficulty, they finally left the forest of fir trees. The scenery widened again. In the distance, white smoke rose in spirals. There should be people there. When Rin Kiyono saw a corner of the sea and was about to take a closer look, the tram entered another forest. This forest was unmaintained. The branches grew to the tracks. When the tram passed by, they stuck to the windows like windshield wipers. There were also branches with poor flexibility. It was obvious that they had been broken by the tram. We're almost there. Toru Watanabe had just finished speaking when the tram left the forest and the light became brighter. They were in a basin. In the distance, there was a mountain. On the ridge of the mountain there was a wind power station. A huge white windmill slowly rotated. Looking away from the mountain, there was a forest. Below the forest, there were layers of terrace fields. If it was spring, the terrace fields would be filled with grass. Toru Watanabe said, "It must be beautiful." Rin Kiyono imagined the scene. In the middle of the terrace fields, there were a few houses that didn't seem to be inhabited. A water buffalo was grazing. Below the terrace fields was a flat paddy field. There was no water in it. There was a person wearing a bamboo hat burning straw. Is this called Shimizuwa Village? Rin Kiyono asked. Yes. The tram stopped at a shabby station that didn't even have a canopy. It was like an isolated island. Toru Watanabe woke Miki Kujo up. We're finally here? Miki Kujo stretched. You've worked hard. Toru Watanabe said with a smile. If I knew it would take so long, I would have taken a helicopter. You'll scare the villagers. The three of them got off the tram. Compared to Tokyo, Shimizuwa Village in the basin wasn't cold at all. Even with Rin Kiyono's physical fitness, she only needed to wear a thin sweater and a jacket. I like this place. Rin Kiyono took a deep breath. Even the air was cleaner than Tokyo. After 2 days, don't complain about going back to Tokyo. Am I such a person? Rin Kiyono looked at him with dissatisfaction. Toru Watanabe pulled the suitcase and walked down the platform. It was just a cement platform. The two beautiful girls followed behind him and looked around curiously. There are no entertainment facilities here, no restaurants. The only place to spend money is a vending machine and a snack shop. While Watanabe was explaining, the two of them saw houses. Just like what Toru Watanabe said at the Christmas party, every house had firewood in front of the house that was piled up to the eaves. Stray dogs that didn't exist in Tokyo could be seen from time to time. They were in groups of 2 or 3. Sometimes you chased me, sometimes I chased you. When the three of them passed by, it was as if they pressed the pause button and stared at them. Even the dog that was being bullied on the ground was the same. They won't bite, right? Rin Kiyono hid behind Toru Watanabe. Those that dare to bite have been killed. Those that survive are all human friends. What a cruel rule, but it can't be helped. Rin Kiyono quickly accepted Toru Watanabe's explanation. It seemed that she didn't like dogs. After 10 minutes on the concrete path, a bus whizzed past them. There were drainage canals on both sides of the road. The water was so clear that they could see the bottom. Occasionally, a fallen leaf would float over, and small fish would swim against the current. When they were exhausted, they would be washed back to their original place by the current. Miki Kujo looked into the distance and asked, "Where is your house?" "There." Toru Watanabe pointed to the distance. "We're here." The two of them looked in the direction he pointed. It was a small hill, and 2 houses were located at the foot of the hill. The houses were separated by a fence. "We're about to see my parents. Are you nervous?" Toru Watanabe asked the two of them with a smile. "I've seen the Prime Minister before," Miki Kujo said without a care. Rin Kiyono closed her eyes and slowly took a deep breath. Miki Kujo looked at her and asked with disgust and confusion, "What are you nervous about?" Qing Yiren exhaled the air in his chest, opened his eyes, and answered casually, "It's the first time I took the initiative to go to a classmate's house, and it's a male classmate. Seeing her nervous expression, Toru Watanabe couldn't help but smile. Miki Kujo turned to look at him again. What are you smiling about? Ah, well, I'm home. I'm happy. Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono stretched out her hand. Give me the suitcase. Tokyo women are really despicable. Toru Watanabe returned the suitcase to her and said to Miki Kujo, Miki, do you want it? Miki Kujo crossed her arms and didn't say anything. Toru Watanabe stuffed the handle of her suitcase into her hands, and she accepted it. Let's go. Toru Watanabe took the lead and walked towards his house. Chapter 206. After walking up the cement road, they saw the front yard of Watanabe's house. It was a piece of muddy land that looked very sturdy, so sturdy that even if it rained, there would not be too much silt on it. On this piece of land, there was a very ordinary two-story wooden house in the shape of an L. It looked like it had been there for a long time. In this day and age, it was a relatively rare traditional island building. The two of you, this is my house. The three of them stood at the end of the cement road, just one step away from entering the front yard. Rin Kiyono looked at the house. It was made of black bricks and tiles. There was a silver-white satellite TV on the windowsill on the second floor. In front of the door and in front of the porch, there were potted plants that would not die even in the winter. Rather than a potted plant, it was more like an unknown plant that was found pleasing to the eye in the mountains and was casually dug up. Is that the Honda Coyote you were talking about? Miki Kujo's line of sight looked at the warehouse on the left side of the house. The warehouse did not have a door. There were farm tools and a red motorcycle inside. On the back seat of the motorcycle was a cargo box. The gaps between the tires were covered with mud. When I have time, I'll take you for a ride. Toru Watanabe showed off. Miki Kujo somewhat helplessly stared at him. Do you have a driver's license? Rin Kiyono curiously asked. A motorcycle driver's license could only be obtained at the age of 16. After the two of them turned 16, they spent almost all of their time together, so Toru Watanabe should not have time to get a driver's license. But she believed that for Toru Watanabe, getting a motorcycle license would be a very simple matter. If he really wanted to do it, he would have enough time in the morning before school. Toru Watanabe confidently smiled at her. In Sawamura, I have one. That meant he did not have one. Okay, let's not talk about the motorcycle, let's go in. Toru Watanabe took the lead and stepped into the front yard. The two beautiful girls pulled the box and followed closely behind. I don't see a car, then my dad should not be at home. Toru Watanabe did not use the key and directly opened the wooden door with one hand. In front of them was a wooden promenade. On the left and right sides of the long corridor, there was a wooden sliding door. And at the end of the corridor was a staircase that led to the second floor. Rin Kiyono glanced to the left, which led to the eaves. At the end of the eaves was the small house under the L shape. Could it be the kitchen? Just as she was guessing, she heard Toru Watanabe shout, Mom, I'm back. If you're back, then come in by yourself. A female voice came from the wooden door on the left side of the corridor. No. There's too much luggage, come and help. The wooden door opened and Watanabe walked out. Seeing the two people beside her son, she was stunned for a moment. Toru Watanabe smiled happily at his mother and proudly introduced her to him. This is my girlfriend Miki Kujo. Hello Auntie Ji. I'm Toru's girlfriend Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo bowed gracefully. Hi, hello Miki. Watanabe Ji had only heard this greeting in TV dramas. You've met this before, Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe continued. She's both my friend and enemy. She grew up with Miki. Hello Auntie. Rin Kiyono greeted her mother in a normal way. Oh, it's Rin. Watanabe's mother smiled. Come in. She took 3 pairs of slippers from the shoe cabinet. One pair was for Toru Watanabe, and the other 2 were for guests. Rin Kiyono nodded politely. Miki Kujo looked at the slippers, and then stared at the pair in front of Toru Watanabe. These are yours? Yes, you can wear mine. I'll wear yours. Miki Kujo nodded, and put on Toru Watanabe's slippers. Watanabe's mother looked at Miki Kujo and smiled. Come in. The three of them put their luggage at the door and followed Watanabe's mother into the room she had just come out of. It was a spacious living room. For ordinary people living in Tokyo, it was a luxury. There was a cabinet in the corner of the living room. On top of the cabinet was a very thin and high-end television, but it was actually very cheap. It only had 1333 by 768 pixels. There was a variety show on the TV. A popular idol came to Iwate Prefecture for a vacation and introduced all kinds of delicious food with exaggerated expressions. There was a stove in the middle of the living room. The principle was similar to that of a kotatsu, but there was a hole under the table for people to put their feet in. In addition, there was a wood-burning stove made of tinplate in the living room. There were dried orange peels on top of it. The faint smell of ripe oranges in the room came from there. Please sit down, I'll peel some fruit for you. Watanabe's mother stood at the door of the living room and said, I'll help. Rin Kiyono, who had just walked into the living room, turned around and walked back to Watanabe's side. No, Rin, you should rest well. It must be tiring to come here from Tokyo. Rin Kiyono thought for a moment. Okay, thank you, Auntie. You're welcome. Watanabe's mother smiled happily and said to Toru Watanabe, Toru Watanabe, take good care of them. Okay. Watanabe's mother went to the kitchen. Rin Kiyono sat down in the stove and sighed comfortably. After such a long car ride and such a long walk, it was equivalent to a week's exercise. Miki, sit down too, Toru Watanabe said. Miki Kujo looked at the quilt in the stove and said with slight disdain, Who knows how many people have used it? You want me to crawl into it? Usually, there were women in the village who liked to chat with Watanabe's mother, but it had nothing to do with the countryside or the city. Miki Kujo disliked everyone. Toru Watanabe was used to her obsession with cleanliness. He suggested, There should be new quilts at home, and I'll get you a seat cushion. I want a new seat cushion too. Seat cushion. Is there a new one? Toru Watanabe was not hopeful. Miki Kujo looked at him and said, If there isn't, I'll get the one in your room. There is. Wait for me. Toru Watanabe left the living room and went up to the second floor. In the living room, Rin Kiyono said to Miki Kujo with a smile, I'm afraid Watanabe classmates' parents will hate you. So what? Miki Kujo did not care. Do you want me to accommodate them? The only one I like is Toru Watanabe. You, on the other hand, are pretending to be a good girl. What are you trying to do? It's just basic etiquette. You're too rude, Miss Kujo. It's my habit to not use quilts that have been used by others. How is this rude? In someone else's house. You're arguing already? Toru Watanabe walked in with a quilt and a seat cushion. You two are really close. The two ignored him. When Watanabe's mother came in with a fruit plate, she was slightly stunned when she saw the new quilt and the seat cushion under Miki Kujo's butt. Sorry, we only have the simplest fruits at home. She pretended that nothing had happened and put the plate in the middle of the table. There were only grapes, oranges, and a cut apple on the plate. Apples were the fruit that Watanabe's mother usually ate. She did not know where she heard that eating apples could beautify her skin. Sometimes, in order to lose weight, she would only eat apples for dinner. The grapes were bought for Toru Watanabe, who was coming back today. As for the oranges, there were a few orange trees on the mountain. She picked them casually, but they were very sweet. That's enough. We're disturbing you. Rin Kiyono bowed slightly. Miki Kujo nodded in agreement with Rin Kiyono's words. Toru Watanabe took an orange and said as he peeled it, Mom, Miki and Kiyono will stay for the new year. Can you help them clean up their room? After that, he suddenly thought of something and added, Okay, Miki can sleep in my room. She's so obsessed with cleanliness that she's going to have a mental illness. Miki Kujo kicked Toru Watanabe in the hole under the table. I'm not the one who's going to have a mental illness. She glanced at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono was leisurely eating an apple with a toothpick. You're going to sleep in the same room? Watanabe's mother looked back and forth between her son and Miki Kujo in surprise. No. Toru Watanabe swallowed the juicy orange in his mouth. Can you help me clean up another room? I see. Watanabe's mother nodded in relief. Then I'll go now. Xiaoche, take good care of Rin and Mickey. Sorry to trouble you, Auntie. Thank you. After his mother left, Toru Watanabe muttered. What should I ask you to do? Do you want to play games? Do you have a game console or a computer at home? Miki Kujo asked with a little surprise. I don't have a computer, but I do have a game console. Toru Watanabe put down the half-eaten orange, got up and walked to the TV, and took out a hongbai and a bunch of game cards from the cabinet. It's just a little old, he said. It's not just old, it's also outdated, Miki Kujo added. Classics will never be outdated, Toru Watanabe said with perfect pronunciation. He connected the hongbai to the TV and plugged in the controller. The controller's cord was very long, and it could be played while sitting in the oven. This was the remnant of Toru Watanabe's cold days. What do you want to play? Let's play an exciting game of Red Fortress or Tank Wars. No, play this. Miki Kujo picked up the Squirrel Wars card. Okay. Toru Watanabe chose to play a cooperative game, because he wanted the two of them to have a good relationship. However, as long as they could play together, their relationship might become better. With good expectations, Toru Watanabe blew on the game card, and then inserted it into the hongbai's card slot. The quality of the game console and the game card was very good. After so many years, it still ran smoothly without any problems. If there were any problems, he would have to use his trump card. Licking it. He handed the controller to the two beautiful girls sitting in the oven. Rin Kiyono had never played a game before, but she still knew how to use the simplest controls. Her squirrel took the lead, and Miki Kujo, who purposely fell behind, lifted the box and knocked her out. Miki Kujo's squirrel ran over, lifted Rin Kiyono up, and carried her all the way. Realizing that Rin Kiyono couldn't move, she frowned slightly. When they reached the cactus, Miki Kujo threw her onto it. Rin Kiyono lost a lot of HP, but she also regained her freedom and learned a new trick. She lifted the box and threw it at Miki Kujo. How could Miki Kujo not be prepared? She hid in the box and neutralized this trick. After that, they had to climb up a telephone pole. The two of them threw each other, trying to throw each other down. Since they couldn't do anything to each other, they tried to run faster. If the slow one fell behind and fell out of the game screen, they would also lose HP. In a game, they used a borrowed knife to kill, looting a burning house, watching from the sidelines, walking away, turning the tables, using the ladders. They almost used all the 36 stratagems except for the honey trap. After a while, Watanabe came back. Rin, I'm sorry, one of the bedrooms is moldy. Can you and Miki sleep in the room together? Isn't it better if it's moldy? Miki Kujo sneered at Rin Kiyono. What? Watanabe's mother was stunned. She's joking. Toru Watanabe explained. Let Kiyono and Miki sleep together. I'm fine with it. Rin Kiyono nodded and said. Miki Kujo didn't say anything. She was indeed just mocking her. Of course, if Rin Kiyono was angry and decided to sleep in the room or go back to Tokyo, that would be the best. I'm going to town to buy some food. Toru, you take care of them. I know, Mom, you've said this 3 times today. Are you looking down on your son's memory? I'm the smartest first-year high school student in the whole of Japan. You child. Watanabe wanted to scold him, but she couldn't help but smile. Be careful on the road. Okay, I'm leaving. After Watanabe left, Toru Watanabe went to the door to help the two carry their suitcases upstairs. The 3 of them stepped on the wooden stairs and went to Toru Watanabe's room on the 2nd floor. Miki Kujo wasn't interested in the room downstairs, but when she arrived here, she carefully looked around. The room was very spacious, more than enough for 2 people to sleep. There was no bed, but 2 mattresses were laid out on the tatami mats. There was a quilt without an electric heater, and a cheap alarm clock was placed on the table. There was a handmade bookshelf against the wall, and as far as the eye could see, it was filled with textbooks, exercise books, and notebooks. Miki Kujo looked carefully, and in the corner of the bookshelf, she found a few cheap library books, magazines that were 5 or 6 years old, plastic airplanes, and cheap clay figurines made out of twisted eggs. There was a window in the room that overlooked the front yard, the terrace fields in the distance, and the mountains. Miki Kujo imagined Toru Watanabe in elementary school. A well-behaved little boy, sitting on the tatami mats, trying to put together paper airplanes. She imagined Toru Watanabe in junior high school. A serious half-grown child, reading at the table in the middle of the night, and looking at the scenery outside the window when he was tired. Spring was warm, summer was hot, autumn was cold, winter was night. 1 year, 2 years, he slowly grew up in this simple room, and then appeared in front of her. "It's okay," Miki Kujo said with her arms crossed. "It's the honor of this room to receive Miki's evaluation of it," Toru Watanabe said with a smile. In Tokyo, even the members-only restaurant was called Some Shitty Place by Miki Kujo. He just didn't know if Miki Kujo was telling the truth or not, or maybe she was just being polite. Rin Kiyono walked in front of the bookshelf and flipped through Toru Watanabe's study materials, which were filled with notes and summaries of wrong questions. Although it was only middle school and a small portion of high school knowledge, most middle school teachers couldn't get into Kamigawa, not to mention self-study. "Which one is your bed?" Miki Kujo looked at the 2 beds and asked. "This one." Toru Watanabe pointed at the bed furthest away from the window. Miki Kujo nodded. After putting down their luggage, Toru Watanabe took them around the room. "How is it? Are you a little disappointed?" Toru Watanabe asked. "I think it's great," Rin Kiyono said. "You actually think it's great? Tell me, what's good about it?" Toru Watanabe didn't dislike his own home, and he would get angry if others criticized it, but he was still very clear on whether it was good or bad. Apart from the fact that the land price was cheap and it was large enough, there were almost no other good points. There are beautiful carvings on the glass, the sink is very clean, the ceramic tiles are beautifully colored, and there are cherry blossom patches on the curtains. I can feel the connection between the Watanabe family and this house, and it's deeply loved by all of you. If Miki Kujo didn't come, Toru Watanabe would definitely say, "Kiyono-san, is this one of your methods to make me love you?" "Miki, what do you think?" Toru Watanabe asked his girlfriend. "It's a rundown house." "It's definitely a rundown house. But," Miki Kujo glanced at a pillar that had been carved to measure Toru Watanabe's height since he was a child. "It's where you grew up. So although it's rundown, it's not annoying." "Yeah, I don't hate it here either." Chapter 207. After touring the house, the 3 of them returned to the living room. Rin Kiyono lost interest in the game and sat in the stove to read. Toru Watanabe plugged Contra into the Hongbai and challenged it with Miki Kujo. "Let's walk in the water." "Miki, do you want this S-bomb? There's an invincible one here, do you want it?" It ran away." After clearing Contra, they played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and Bloody Combat. Miki Kujo was sleepy and slept on her side. Toru Watanabe played Heavy Tank alone. About 2 hours later, Watanabe's mother came back as the sky began to turn red. Sawamura was far away from the nearest town. "Xiaoche, help mom peel peas." "Okay. I'll help." Rin Kiyono was about to get up. No, Shaolin, you sit down. Come here quickly." Watanabe's mother told Toru Watanabe, and went to the kitchen. After a while, Toru Watanabe was nowhere to be seen. Watanabe's mother shouted again. "Xiaoche? Coming. Coming." After a while, Watanabe's mother rushed out of the kitchen. "Xiaoche, what are you doing?" Mom reprimanded. The 2 beautiful girls also looked at Toru Watanabe. Soon, Toru Watanabe focused on the controller. "I'm about to get the Red Wolf tank." Watanabe's mother walked over and turned off the TV. "On my tank. My life's dream." "Mom, what are you doing? There's a guest in the house, don't you know how to be more diligent? Come and help." Toru Watanabe put down the controller and stood up from the blanket helplessly. He followed Watanabe out of the living room and into the kitchen. "Didn't Kiyono say she'll do it? Just let her do it. Let the guests fight? Just lie there and play games? What did I teach you? But we can't let them eat and stay for free, right? What are you thinking all day long? Was he going to collect money from them? By the way, after peeling the peas, go to the field and pluck some radishes. Red radish, white radish." Which one do little Lin and Mickey like? The two people in the living room could hear the conversation between the mother and son. When dinner was almost ready, Toru Watanabe's father came back. There was a man called Watanabe Sunio who was a man of few words, but liked to brag loudly after drinking with the men in the village. He always wore a pair of old rubber shoes, and was called Watanabe Sunio. Dad, did you deliver the goods? Yes. Watanabe nodded. He took off his rubber shoes and had no reaction to his son who had been in Tokyo for more than half a year. I brought my girlfriend back this time. Yes. There's another student. Watanabe Sunio didn't even say a word. He simply nodded and said, I understand. You two come and help me serve the dishes. Watanabe's mother's voice came from the kitchen. Got it. Toru Watanabe answered. Watanabe Sunio didn't say anything and just walked to the kitchen with Toru Watanabe. Watanabe's father was a man of few words. But even so, he would still raise rice ducks for his son and send them to Tokyo. During dinner, Toru Watanabe introduced the two beautiful girls, but he didn't respond. Compared to Rin Kiyono, he said one more thing to Miki Kujo. Ache, sorry for troubling you. Toru Watanabe wanted to tell his father that Miki Kujo had caused him more trouble than he had caused her. Okay. Watanabe's mother smiled and said, let's eat. At the long wooden table, Watanabe's father sat at the head of the table. Watanabe's mother and Rin Kiyono sat on one side, while Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo sat on the other side. The two beautiful girls faced each other. Before she said, I'm going to eat, Miki Kujo looked at the bowl and chopsticks in front of her. Is this new? She asked. Watanabe's mother looked at her in confusion and answered subconsciously, no. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe. I was just about to give you mine. Toru Watanabe exchanged their bowls, chopsticks, and plates. This is for me. No one has used it before. Miki Kujo looked at the bowls and chopsticks in Watanabe's parents' hands. They were indeed of different colors, so she nodded in satisfaction. Watanabe-ji looked at this scene and secretly looked at Watanabe's father. Watanabe's father pretended not to see. I'm going to eat. After expressing their gratitude for the food, they began to enjoy dinner. Toru Watanabe took a bite of rice and 2 mouthfuls of vegetables, then asked the two of them, Are you used to the food? It's okay, Miki Kujo said. Rin Kiyono drank a small mouthful of radish stew and ate a fried mushroom. Fresh vegetables. They're tender and delicious. I like them very much. Eat more if you like. There's more in the kitchen, Watanabe's mother said happily. Thank you, Auntie. Maybe I really need more rice. After saying that, she looked a little troubled. But I'll gain weight. Forget it. You're so thin. I think you'll gain at least 5 pounds before your weight is normal, Toru Watanabe said. Watanabe-san, you don't understand girls' weight. It stinks. Rin Kiyono's snow-white face wrinkled as she covered her nose. Watanabe's father, who was stirring the natto, was stunned. Watanabe's mother slapped the table and laughed, full of the boldness of a village woman. This. Watanabe's father didn't know what to do. He said without thinking carefully, It's made at home. It's delicious. Do you want it? Rin Kiyono shook her head hard. Sorry, I can't stand natto. Then, Watanabe's father hesitated, and was ready to give up the natto that he had for every meal for 40 years. Please don't mind it, uncle, Rin Kiyono said while pinching her nose. Her voice was a little out of tune. I'll get used to it. Watanabe's father hesitated for 3 seconds before he continued stirring the natto and poured it into the rice bowl. Ahahaha. Watanabe's mother couldn't stop laughing. Little Rin is so cute. Auntie, I'm not pretending to be cute, but I'm really cute. I understand. After being with his father for so many years, I can't stand natto either. It stinks. Rin Kiyono wasn't trying to curry favor when she said that the vegetables were fresh and delicious. Natto smelled bad, but she wasn't trying to pick a fight. She was just telling the truth. However, with her etiquette, she shouldn't have said it stinks directly. But the natto made by Watanabe's family was really smelly. Miki Kujo also frowned and warned Toru Watanabe. You're not allowed to eat that. Why? Toru Watanabe didn't eat natto, but he was curious about the reason. Why are you asking so many questions? This is an order. Okay, I'll listen to you. Watanabe's father silently ate the natto rice. No matter what the three women said, he ate very happily. The only pity was that his son didn't inherit this tradition. The technique of making natto in Watanabe's family would be lost in his generation. By the way, Watanabe's father remembered something. Do you still want to work as a postman? Yes. Toru Watanabe drank up the soup and said to his mother, "One more bowl." Rin Kiyono hesitated and also asked for a bowl. Anyway, I have nothing to do in the morning. Okay. Watanabe's father didn't say anything else. After eating, the two beautiful girls took a bath in the bathroom upstairs. Toru Watanabe wasn't used to the family soaking in the bathtub, so he asked his parents to help him build it. Although it was a little small, thanks to it, the problem of the two young ladies taking a bath was solved. You're very tired today. Go to bed early and sleep in tomorrow. I'll take you around the village. Okay, good night. Toru Watanabe went downstairs and wanted to chat with his parents for a while before going to bed. He was afraid of disturbing the two upstairs, so he walked softly. When he went to the living room, he heard his parents' conversation. Dad, what do you think of Mickey? Toru Watanabe didn't go in, but hid outside the living room. What do you mean? Watanabe's father asked. The child seems to dislike us. Watanabe's mother said. What do you mean? Can't you see? She doesn't even touch the things we used. Forget about the towels and chopsticks. I helped Xiaoche clean up the room today. When I came back, the quilt on the stove was replaced with a new one. Why do you care if she dislikes us or not? She lives with Ache. As long as she doesn't dislike Ache, it's fine. But we are Ache's parents. Will Ache live with us in the countryside in the future? Watanabe's father asked. Of course not. How is that possible? Ache can't learn from Lingzi. Lingzi was an old woman in the village. After she went to college, she didn't find a job. Instead, she came back from Osaka to farm. Later, when the school teacher retired, she replaced him and got a formal job. She lived lazily every day and didn't get married. She couldn't be blamed for getting married. There were no young men in the village. If she wanted to get married, she could only marry the old man or Toru Watanabe, who was more than 10 years younger than her. Watanabe's mother didn't look down on Lingzi. They even had a good relationship. She just didn't want Toru Watanabe to be like her. Today there were fewer children. Maybe no young people in Zei village would live here since Toru Watanabe's generation. Since they were going to leave, she hoped that Toru Watanabe could go to Tokyo and find a comfortable and high-paying job. Then it's fine. Watanabe's father's voice was steady and unhurried. People in the city look down on people from the countryside. It's not like Mickey is the only one. Since she can accept Archer, doesn't it mean that she likes him very much? Isn't it enough that they like each other? But I think that child is bossing Ache around. Watanabe's father didn't deny it. He said, it's good that someone is bossing Ache around. But isn't that too much? Didn't you hear her tone? It's like she's ordering a servant. Ache is handsome and excellent in all aspects. If she doesn't be strong as his wife, I don't know what will happen in the future. How can my son do that kind of thing? I'm sorry, Mom. Toru Watanabe, who was eavesdropping outside the living room, apologized silently in his heart. He didn't want to do that kind of thing at first. He wanted to be a loyal person. Because of this, he rejected Mayasahi several times. But in the end, he had no choice. He doesn't do anything but women do. He can reject one or two women, but can he guarantee that he will reject all women? Watanabe Masao said. That's true. Watanabe echoed reluctantly. The living room was silent for a while. Toru Watanabe was about to pretend that he had just arrived and walk in. His father, what do you think of little Rin? His mother's lowered voice made Toru Watanabe stop in his tracks. She's quite a cute child. Watanabe's father replied perfunctorily. Watanabe's mother was very interested. Her tone was slightly excited as she said, I think she's very nice. She's polite, cute and quiet. She also gets along well with Ache. Yeah. And I think she can control Ache. You still blame Miki for being fierce to Ache. I think that's what she should do, Watanabe's father said. You don't think little Rin is good? Watanabe lowered her voice even more. I want her to be my daughter-in-law more. After saying that, Watanabe laughed as if she could already see Rin Kiyono calling her mother. It's Ache's own business. His future is his own. This was Watanabe's father's opinion on this matter. I'll find a chance to ask Ache and see what he thinks of little Rin. The conversation about the two beautiful girls ended there. Watanabe Masao asked about her husband's delivery during the day. After that, they talked about preparing for the new year. They discussed buying some expensive ingredients to entertain Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono. Until Toru Watanabe got married, Watanabe Masao didn't ask him about Rin Kiyono. Perhaps because of her husband's previous words, she didn't know what kind of answer she wanted to hear from Toru Watanabe. December 26th, the first day Toru Watanabe returned to Iwate Prefecture. He got up early and worked part-time as a postman. He started this job after he entered junior high school in order to buy expensive tutoring books. Before and after he quit, his father had always been the postman in Sawamura. Now he continued to work as a postman to let his parents know that he was a hard-working child, and they didn't need to worry too much about him. In addition, he was used to getting up early to find something to do. The sky was still dark. The Honda Mustang crossed the field path and crossed the small bridge over the stream. There were towering trees on both sides of the mountain road. The cold wind blew on Toru Watanabe's face. My love has gone with the south wind. After changing the pillow, Rin Kiyono fell asleep very late and woke up very early in the morning. After opening her eyes, she didn't hear the sound of Tokyo. She could only hear the sound of birds outside the window. She could hear Miki Kujo's steady breathing beside her. She got up quietly, changed her clothes, and went downstairs. Watanabe's mother was making breakfast in the kitchen. Rin. Watanabe's mother raised her head when she heard footsteps. You're up so early. Why didn't you sleep a little longer? Good morning, Auntie, Rin Kiyono said after greeting her. I changed the pillow, so I'm not used to it. Then what should we do? Watanabe's mother was very worried. She stopped what she was doing. It's okay. You just need to sleep for one night. The next day will be fine. This was her experience from the summer vacation in the Blowing Club. That's good. Watanabe's mother nodded in relief and continued to cook. Rin Kiyono walked over, rolled up her sleeves, and helped to wash the vegetables. After a while she asked, Where's Watanabe? For some reason, Watanabe's mother seemed happy that she asked this question. He went to deliver a letter. Deliver a letter? Yes, he's working as a postman. He bought all the reference books for junior high school with the money he earned from this job. Rin Kiyono nodded. Auntie Ji, what was Watanabe like when he was young? The melodious sound of a flute came from afar. On a high ridge in the field, a girl with curly hair was practicing her flute while facing the rising sun. So hard-working? Toru Watanabe stopped the Honda Mustang in front of the girl. Ayako Homa put down the flute and asked, Watanabe? That's me. Toru Watanabe took off his helmet and rested his elbows on the handlebars. When did you come back? Ayako Homa patted Toru Watanabe's shoulder hard. If it was a year ago, Toru Watanabe would have hugged his shoulder and cried out in pain. Yesterday, Toru Watanabe looked at the flute in her hand and asked, What's going on? What else could it be? I'll be in my third year of high school next year. It's my last semester. I have to enter the national competition and not leave any regrets in my youth. Toru Watanabe looked at the blue sky in boredom and said, I won the national competition in my first year of high school. What should I do next? Do you want to die? Isn't this Ache? A middle-aged man carrying a hoe came from Ayako Homa's direction. Uncle Hanma. Toru Watanabe turned around and took out a letter from the bag. There's a letter for you. Uncle Hanma took the letter and muttered, It's the water and electricity bill again. He raised his head and said to Toru Watanabe, Ache, I heard that you pressed the first place in a competition? It's not first place. It's just the gold medal. Ayako Homa corrected him. Isn't the gold medal the first place? Uncle Hanma retorted with a daughter tone. That's right. I'm the first place, Toru Watanabe said. Ayako Homa pursed her lips. Uncle Hanma patted Toru Watanabe's shoulder and praised him. Really smart people are different. Even if you go to Tokyo, you can still make a name for yourself. I knew you were a genius long ago. You're right. Come to my house later. Your aunt's persimmons are very sweet this year. I'll definitely go. Toru Watanabe put on his helmet. Uncle Hanma, I'm going to deliver the letter. Okay. Ayako, do your best. Don't leave any regrets for your youth. Ayako Homa kicked the rear wheel of the Honda Coyote. After delivering the letter, Toru Watanabe returned home and smelled the aroma of breakfast. Mom, I'm starving. Are you still not done? Toru Watanabe said as he took off his helmet. I'm almost done. Watanabe Chiaki replied without looking up. Is it cold to ride a bike? It's okay. My feet are a little cold. Toru Watanabe changed into indoor shoes and walked into the kitchen. Rin Kiyono rolled up her sleeves and was slicing vegetables. She was wearing a light pink loose sweater and a beige dress that reached her ankles. Her hair was tied up in a loose ponytail and stuck to her back. She looked gentle, relaxed, and very beautiful. You're up so early? By the way, Toru Watanabe remembered something. Mom, Kiyono only eats half-cooked eggs. Don't fry them all. After saying that, he looked at Rin Kiyono and was about to ask her why she was up so early. However, Rin Kiyono was smiling at him. It was a gentle smile like a spring breeze. What's wrong? Toru Watanabe asked her curiously. Is my hair messy? It's a little messy, Rin Kiyono said with a smile. Then I'll have to tidy it up. Toru Watanabe walked out of the kitchen. Watanabe whispered to Rin Kiyono with a smile. Xiaoche, how did you know that you only eat half-cooked eggs? I found out when we had breakfast together on a school trip. Rin Kiyono recalled the scene at that time and couldn't help but smile. At that time, we quarreled about whether it was half-cooked or half-cooked. Quarreled? Yes. Watanabe saw the smile on Rin Kiyono's face and didn't ask again. She just smiled. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.